picking. So, yeah, what are we gonna do about this? How can we change by building a new model that makes the existing model obsolete? Where do we start? You know, if y'all have ideas, please request up. 333 likes. That's so cool. But yeah, tap the screen, share the live. Let's talk about this. Let's discuss. I don't know if I need to put like a multi-guest thing up. I'm not sure because I never had a panel up. But I would love for y'all to join and discuss what we can do, you know, to make this place. I do know one thing that I saw a video on was to sign the Convention of States action, which you can find at conventionofstates.com, which is basically, I'll read a little bit about that. It's a mechanism in the U.S. Constitution allowing states to propose amendments bypassing Congress. So if 34 state legislatures apply, Congress must call a convention to address issues like federal fiscal restraints, power limitations, and term limits, which we need term limits for Congress especially. Grand Rising TW, how are you? So there's already 20 states. So we just need 14 more. So if you sign this petition for your state, then maybe we can get some more on board with this. And at least it kind of condenses more like localized government, you know, state government versus federal. Hey, Brian, welcome in, Grand Rising. So, yeah, let me know what y'all think. Please request up and let's talk about it. What do we do? How can we change? How can we build basically a new model to change this current system, to replace it and build a better future? It's scary what's going on. And like I said, like the esoteric knowledge that I share is very important, but what if we don't have a safe place to practice? You know, if we don't have a safe place to raise our children with all the PDF files. So, who wants to talk? Request up, that little button down there with the, I don't know where it is for y'all, but with the pink and blue people, you can request up and let's see what y'all's ideas are. Like I said, going to conventionofstates.com, signing that petition for your state is one step. You know, what fuels them is our money, you know. So how do we, I mean, yes, filing exempt on taxes, shop local, all of those things. But these systems are ran by, you know, people who are trying to make us obsolete, you know? So what do we do to counteract that? Any ideas? I'd love to hear them in the chat or request up. Thank you for sharing the live, Brian. Repost, share, tap the screen, send the daily heart me. Let's get this algorithm boosted. Like I said, I haven't been live in a while, so it's going to be a little bit slow. But what are we going to do? Welcome in, everybody. Only pray for us are left. I mean, praying is great, meditating on it is great, but we have to take action with those. You know, manifestation, it's, you know, your mind is powerful, your thoughts shape your reality, but you have to take action on those thoughts as well. So, thank you, Daisy, for the heart me. So if y'all have any ideas, please request up. Let's chat. I don't know how to make like a little request box down here. Does anybody know? settings, maybe? Oh, okay. So if we do this, will it show? Yes, there we go. Okay. So, yeah. I think why all is passive because only one solution is unalive those. Yeah. So, I mean, that's one option, right? But I think there are other options. I do. I don't think we have to use violence. We don't have to stoop to their level, if you get my drift. And I'm not saying they shouldn't be punished. Thank you, Pink Sunshine. But we have to go about it the right way. Grand Rising. So, request it. Let's talk about it. I love you, Pink. Thank you. Hey, Anita. Thank you. You as well. I don't either. I think consciousness will rise. I mean, consciousness is rising. That's for sure. But we have to take action. That's what I'm saying. Like, see the quote? So the top is chopped off. I should have fixed it differently. But anyways, you never change things by fighting the existing reality. To change something, build a new model that makes the existing model obsolete. So how are we going to build a new model? What are the steps in doing that? You know, like I said, money fuels them. So we need to create systems outside of their structure. Thank you for the roses. Hey, Gentlemen. I would love to hear your thoughts on this if you want to request up. The one who fights by sword dies by sword. Yeah. Yes, how? Exactly. This is my question. What can we do? Like I said, one step in at least, you know, like filing tax exempt, shopping local, all those things. There is a website called conventionofstates.com, which you can go and sign the petition for your state. We need 34 states to be in agreement. And then that will, it's a mechanism in the U.S. Constitution allowing states to propose amendments by passing Congress. If 34 state legislatures apply, Congress must call a convention to address issues like federal fiscal restraints, power limitations, and term limits. Proposed amendments require 38 states to ratify. But basically, it will also put more power into local, like state government, not federal. So that's one step to, if y'all don't, oh, sorry, I didn't see you down there for a second. Hey, gentlemen.
Good morning.
Good morning, Grand Rising. How are you?
Grand Rising. I'm wonderful. How are you?
I am great. Oh, I thought I saw somebody else request. So yeah, if y'all want to request step, go ahead and hit the little box or the little people down there. So what are your thoughts?
What was the question? Or what was the.
To change, okay, so the full prompt, which I know you can't see it, sucks. You never change things by fighting the existing reality. To change something, build a new model that makes the existing model obsolete. So basically, this current climate of the world, we all know the files, the release, and all the things going on, the people in power. How do we make them obsolete? So what are the next steps in building a better future for us and our children?
That's a very deep question. And a very important one, too, because, I mean, so we see through the illusion, we see all this negative stuff that is happening, and what can we actually do to create change in the environment? And, wow. Honeybee. That's a it's a great prompt. It really is, but it's so deep. Like, where do you even start? And so what I would say is, it really, Each one of us needs to come into alignment with the kingdom within us. And it really changes your perspective and the way that you see things and the way that you operate. And then we don't really give our time, attention, and energy to these negative things, which literally require our time, attention, and energy to exist. Like it only has space in this reality because it gets its space from us.
Agree. But we put our time, attention, and energy into it every single day, even if we don't do it like, I mean, we're doing it by going to big pharma, big tech, all the big box stores. All of these things help fuel this control system, beast system, however you want to say. So, speaking of,
Right. So the physical reality, right? So we've been given a script for the physical reality, and then we buy into it. And when we come into alignment with the kingdom within, it's a completely different reality. And like that was what Jesus was trying to show us. Jesus didn't operate in the physical reality by the physical reality rules. Jesus operated outside of that. That's how he fed so many on a couple of fish and some loaves of bread. That's how, the money was in the fish's mouth. And these different things, Jesus was showing us that there is another level to this reality that from the physical perspective looks like magical, but it's truly how it's created to operate.
I agree with that.
But I think that's why a lot of people take it as like fairy tale because they don't have the ability to understand or grasp the true capabilities that we have in this energetic reality.
Mhm. So I'm gonna read some of the comments. Yeah. So I don't have a political affiliation, Pastor. Um, Thank you for the heartbeat, Jacob. Yeah, stop paying the money to them. Thank y'all for the reposts and the likes. Aligning with our words and actions. Yes. Thank you for the hand heart. Speaking truth, even when we're silenced. Yes, absolutely. Find ways we use to communicate in frequency and energy. And then somebody gave us a verse. Revelations 2:9 and 3:9.
That's talking about the synagogue of Satan.
Oh,
Both of those.
yeah. So we're aware that the is not real is
Yeah.
yeah, is synagogue of Satan. Yes.
It's a false enemy. It's just the only enemy is lies believed. So the lies believed that you operate out of is giving your time, attention, and energy to this physical realm, right? Because it's
But we
not.
have to, in a way, just to survive here. You know what I mean? So, yes, we meditate. Yes, we focus on the kingdom within. That's what I'm saying. It's like I can teach all the esoteric knowledge, but if we don't have a safe space to practice, then what's the point? Like, you know what I mean? It's all good, but we need balance in both the physical, because we are physical beings, and we are spiritual as well. So you know what I mean? We can't just be love and light, and we have to recognize the darkness and then combat it in some way, even if it's not like violence. I don't condone violence, but in some way, not just through, oh, um, I don't know. Like they say, ignorance is bliss. We can't be ignorant, and bliss. We have to stay grounded.
Right. Ignorance is like operating out of the subconscious, and that's how this physical reality also continues to take up space. It's living rent free in your brain, right? When you're operating out of the subconscious. And thank you, Pink Sunshine, by the way. I appreciate you. And also the duality is needed. I would say the duality is where the learning experience exists, but ultimately we resolve the dualistic reality. So, Jesus actually spoke on that a lot. The double minded man is unstable in all his ways. And you cannot serve two masters, for you will love one and hate the other, and cling to one and run from the other. So, and the the house divided amongst itself will not stand. So when you're living in a dualistic reality, when duality exists inside your operating system, you are a house divided unto itself, because you're giving space to both the lies believed and also the truth, which is an unstable reality. Thank you, Pink Sunshine. Thank you so much for being here and being a part of this conversation. It's very important. It's a very important conversation.
Yes. I realized TikTok is. So I'm catching up with the comments. I need to read them all because I don't want to miss something important. Um,
Yeah.
I mean, it's not. It's a real enemy. Yeah, I mean, that's duality is needed. Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm saying. Even though in our heart we want to stay non-dual, it's like we are living in duality. So we have to recognize that. And I don't know, how do we like
How do we? Sorry.
like our children? It's mostly about our children's future. Like how
Mhm.
do we build a better system for them to grow up in? And the school systems, everything is ran by these PDF files.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's scary.
It is scary. There's a lot of things that are scary in our reality right now, and it's about figuring out where is it that it's where are the lies that we are believing that is creating this inner energetic state that we are projecting onto our reality. Good morning, Marley. um
Grand Rising, Marley. You're welcome to join if you like. The prompt, I know y'all can't read the top, sorry. You never change things by fighting the existing reality. To change something, build a new model that makes the existing model obsolete. So we're just kind of,
so we are this is why so in the Bible, right, God leads us through green pastures and beside still waters, and the yoke is easy and the burden is light. And I shall not want. I do not operate out of lack. These are all truths about when you come into alignment with the kingdom within you. It changes your whole reality. You now operate purely from truth. And so in this space, you realize your true power and your true capabilities to create the reality that you exist in.
our thoughts, words, actions, deeds, all that creates our reality. So we need to stay in, you know, alignment with what we want to see in the world.
Right.
Um,
It starts within each one of us. If the majority of us quit giving that negative timeline, our time, attention, and energy, it would go away. It would go away. It would cease to exist completely.
And I think, like, in a way, we see that happening. It's almost like they're creating their own downfall. You know what I mean? So, hold on, my dog is whining to get up. I'll be right back.
They give, I think they give us a negative timeline to buy into, but I'm sorry, I should wait till you get back, huh?
No, I can hear you.
Okay.
I think you might be right about that. Maybe it's all a facade, like what they are trying to portray as this big bad, and they aren't, but individually, but we way outnumber them, you know?
Right. And so it's a scripted timeline, right? That we can buy into. What do we buy into it with? We use our inheritance. We are creators, created in the image of the creator. And our ability to create through energy is our inheritance. So we buy into the scripted negative narrative with our inheritance. And this is why we have like the story of the prodigal son. He goes out from his father's house with his inheritance, right? And he just blows his inheritance to the point where he is a slave in another's house until he realizes who he is and goes back home to the father. And that is very much a parable for what we are actively doing as we are putting our inheritance into that negative slave timeline narrative that we're being sold. Because the truth is, we're never created to be a slave to any system, right? And that would have to be a narrative that's written and that we buy into because it's a lie believed and not in alignment with our true original form or how we are created to operate.
Great. So, our best plan moving forward would just maybe just be to wake more people up, to get them to be aware of their power within. I mean, maybe, see, I was worried about, I was just in a really bad place the last month or so. My family members are oblivious.
Yeah.
They support either, these PDF files denying their role in it all, or they believe Jesus is returning. You know what I mean? It's like, it's
Yeah. Yeah.
really hard.
Yeah.
It's been really tough. And friends and family. I mean, I have nobody here really around me that believes like me that I can, have that where two or more are gathered, like
Yeah.
that communion with. So like what are the steps in that? I mean, because I've sent files, I've done, I've tried to talk. They're just like this. Blah, 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 blah,
Yeah. I can't hear you.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I totally understand. And it's hard for them to walk out of the cave of illusion, right? They are so enthralled with the, like Plato's allegory of the cave. They're so enthralled with the shadows being cast on the cave wall. And they're so invested in those shadows that they have a very hard time walking away from that.
Yeah.
Right. And so how do you help somebody else see that they're actually invested in something that doesn't truly exist? Right. And they're living in a delusion. Even though they are in agreement with the majority, it's a majoral agreed upon illusion that doesn't actually exist. So how do you actually lead them out into the light of what is truly mentally healthy. And I would say that it's actually like, as we come into alignment with the kingdom within us, it does wonderful things for our energetic interaction with others. So we now affect others through our alignment, and we become activators. I went through the same thing with my family, and there were things going on like the vid. I don't know how we're supposed to say that on social media, but when the vid came, I was watching very closely, and I found the patent 060606 that was filed by Bill Gates about the nanotechnology, and I knew that there was going to have to be a mass inoculation in order for that filing to mean anything, right? And so I was telling my family, like, please don't pay attention. Whatever, they're casting a spell. Please don't buy into the spell. Please don't go get the inoculation. Just be patient, stay calm. And they didn't listen, but on the other side of it, they realized, like, oh, she was right. You know what I mean? And that did a lot for my relationship with my family. Like, we are all very, very close, and I'm so grateful for how far we have all come together too. Like, my family was very religious, and oh my gosh, that is so cute.
I'm not sure if I'm supposed to do something somewhere interactive, but that was cute. Thank you for
That's
the.
cute.
Yeah, see, I was the same way, and my dad ended up going and getting the inoculation for a cruise, just so he could travel and go on his cruise because he didn't want to cancel it. So that's the kind of level I'm dealing with, and yeah, now he's all for unless something has changed, because I had to say, you know what, I agreed to disagree with you on the whole the person holding office being a part of the Epstein stuff. So I was like, I gave him the evidence. I said, you don't have 40 women and children accusing you of something um, without there being something there.
Yeah.
I don't know where to go with my like. He knows, and he sees what the jab did, and he does recognize that I was right. You know,
Hmm.
Thank God he only got one around, but still, I said I've been right about everything so far. Because I used to
Yeah.
put a lot of conspiracies. Like, why can't you see this? That I'm right this time. Um, so I don't know.
I know, and we care about our family so much. Uh, my mom actually, after getting the jab, she became allergic to the cold. And yeah, she went to Sam's Club one day, and she had to go into, like, they have that refrigerated section you can walk into. She walked in there, and the next thing she knew, she couldn't breathe. She broke out in hives all over her body, and she had to go to the doctor immediately. The doctor was so amazed. He was taking pictures and video calling his friends, like showing them how my mom is now allergic to cold, and this is something they had never seen before. And and most likely related to the jab. And so, yeah, unfortunately, and my mom also lost a lot of family members to the vid. And we all lost, my whole family. We lost a lot of family members to the lie of it all. And it hurts, it affects us very deeply. But it ultimately, was a lie that we believed, and that's how it affected us the way that it affected us. So I guess that also speaks to, so how do we live now surrounded by all the delusion that is being cast into reality? And the answer to that is we see through the illusion, and we operate from the place of truth, and people will see. It will clear the eyes. It will clear the ears. And we will come into that space where we rise above the lies that are believed, and we realize the kingdom from within each one of us, where that reality can't exist any longer. It is ultimately, um, it is ultimately destroyed.
Mhm. And like I
It's
said, I think that like even their actions are causing their own demise, you know? So it's like, do we just sit back and watch it fall?
Yeah. Yeah, we do. And we celebrate,
Mhm.
right? We celebrate. It's hard for us to come into the realization and the understanding that this negative reality is getting its space from us.
Yeah.
Oh, good morning, drummer.
Hey, Drummer, Grand Rising. Good to see you. Anybody that wants to request up, I'm just going to put this out there. Go ahead and if you want to share your thoughts on this topic. But yeah, coming to the realization that maybe, yes, we do need to build um, something, for our future. But it may start with just the holding the space for to allow that to unfold naturally.
Have you seen that movie with Ryan Reynolds? Um,
Hey, Darren, welcome in.
what is that movie with Ryan Reynolds where he is inside of a game and he's an NPC, and then he like gets his mind right
Player
and
one or
becomes
something?
the what?
Is it Player One or something?
No, that's a good movie too, but
Okay. I haven't watched TV or movies in like 9 years, so I'm not
oh
the
my
person to
gosh.
ask.
Well, it's a really good one, and the reason why I bring it up is because it's a video game that was built on top of an original programming. There was an original programming that was like a heaven programming. And then this other programming was built on top of that. And Ryan Reynolds starts out as an NPC buying into the reality that he's being offered. And then ultimately he conquers that reality and becomes alive and reveals the heaven programming at the base of it, and kind of conquers that the reality that people had been agreeing into. And it's really a great parable for what we are doing, because the heaven reality is already here and it's already freely being given to us. It's just about us finding that home within ourselves so that we operate from that space.
On Brian and Marley, Grand Rising. Would y'all like to chime in?
Hello.
Good morning.
I'm
So
just
what?
sitting here loving this conversation.
Yeah, I've been kind of thinking about this for a while. Like I haven't been live in probably a couple months now because I felt like, what is the point of sharing this esoteric knowledge if we don't have a safe place to practice? And so we need to think about what kind of future we're building, especially for our children. And so I know y'all can't see the very top of the prompt, but it says you never change things by fighting the existing reality. To change something, build a new model that makes the existing model obsolete.
It's understandable how you're up here and you're trying so desperately to show what you have embodied and learned, and it has proven over and over again in your life by what has happened with you and through you and your experiences. You know, it's really kind of funny, Honeybee. I've been thinking about you. I came across, could you send me your address? I actually have a gift for you. And a week ago, I came across it, and
Thank you.
so
Yes,
I want to send it to you. And so just send me your address, because believe it or not, about a week ago, God put you on my heart. And I thought, gosh, she's been awfully quiet lately. And when anybody goes quiet, there's a reason for it. So I knew that there was something significant. And when I came across this, I'm like, I got to send this to her. So just know that you came across my mind about a week ago. And typically, whenever someone does, I always reach out. So I'm sorry for not reaching out, to be honest with you.
No worries. No worries.
Because I understand what you're going through. I moved from Washington State, which is a very liberal state, and I moved to Tennessee, as you know. And I moved here because I wanted to be with my people. And then God woke me up in such a way. And so I don't belong down here anymore. So I understand what you're going through. And it's a difficult process. I'm still trying to process all of it. It's not easy, especially when you love. But the greatest thing that you can do, Jen and I talk about it a lot, and that is to just live it out, Jen. Just live it out. Jenna and I said, just live it out. Live as if you are so happy and so peaceful. And when people see, like, what is happening in her life? Why is she so just zen and so joyful and so peaceful? But the world is like on fire, but she's so peaceful. That's how we show the world how to embody what Jesus came to teach us.
And I feel like I do, I've been isolating lately. I did get out a lot last week for spring break, and I do live that way and try to be that example. It's just hard when, like, your family members, especially my sister is so deep in the church. Like, she volunteers, she does all the groups. Thank you. I don't know. Is that for me? Thank you, drummer. And she believes Jesus is returning. And when I try to tell her any different, she literally will hang up the phone or just like in the conversation. She's like, nope, she don't want to hear it. So it's really hard. My dad, I send him stuff. Like I said, he supports the PDF in Office. And I just can't, like, how anybody, given the evidence, like I send him files, he can read for himself, would still have any kind of support for that. And so
That's how deep the lies are. I mean, that's how really deep it is. And so I can only speak because I believed so many of the lies, but I never pushed what I believed on somebody else. I just kind of would let it go. So it's hard for me to understand. If someone doesn't want to listen to me, then I just kind of like, okay, I let that go. And I just say, in God's timing, all will come to pass. And it's a hard place to be at. I can't imagine if my mom was alive right now, I would be living the same thing you're living. And so she's not here. Part of me is grateful for that because I don't know if she could handle what's happening right now. It's a lot to handle. And so you got to understand their mindset is so much different than our mindset. Just 20 years of difference of living longer puts you in a much different mindset. Like, my husband's 9 years older than me, and even his mindset is different than my mindset. So with each generation, and I believe that's how God has it, that's how change happens. But the problem is that at the top of the top, we have the same people running the country. Nothing has changed. It's all one-track mind people. So until the minds change, it's almost as if until that whole office changes, it's going to be hard to get that mindset to shift. Because if that office doesn't change and their whole thinking doesn't change, it's hard for the people who are older to shift their mindset.
See, and my mom passed when I was very young. I was 5 or 6, somewhere around there. I'd have to do the math. But basically, I think that it would be the opposite. I feel like if she was here, she would get this. She would understand. And I didn't know her that well, but just based on what I did know from others, about her, she was an angel. She had the best heart and always so supportive of everyone. And I feel like she'd be the one to help my dad see through the lies. So it kind of sucks that she's not around. But yeah, Jacob said born under different frequencies. I do agree with that. That has a lot to do with it. My child is even far more, on a different frequency than I am. He's so smart and so like in tune naturally, with spirit. And thank you, Stephanie. She said, I thought about you too. Thank you. I appreciate you, but my reason's stingy because I wanted to have it read. I think, okay, that was you. Okay, let me follow you back, Stephanie, I think. Okay. I think I saw that message, but I didn't know that was you. And yeah, we had some other comments about... Thank you, Michelle and Jacob. I appreciate y'all. Y'all have helped me a lot too. Y'all don't realize that I need this space because I have nobody in my real life around me. So, and Darren said he has to drive. No worries. Yeah. So if anybody in the audience wants to request up and talk, go ahead, Marla.
And everything is in divine timing, and I really believe that. I mean, everything that's happening in my life right now. Oh my goodness, talk about divine timing, I mean, every single thing that has happened for me and my highest and greatest good always happens in perfect divine timing. And just think, every person in our life has to play a significant role for our own evolution. So try to look at your dad and maybe your family members as thank you for playing your roles so well.
I'm being tested.
We all are, sweetheart.
Yeah.
It's hard.
Well,
It's so hard.
and Marley, like all of the things were happening to your highest good naturally, right? But we don't see it until we shift our mind to see it. Right? So, like Snake was asking just a few comments ago, he was asking, how do we change? Can you explain more about how to change reality? And it is all within you. All of the collection of beliefs that drive your inner being is what creates the reality that you experience. So it's literally going into those beliefs, finding where they are lies believed that are actually separating us from seeing the truth clearly. And we take those out of our operating system so that we can receive the reality, the heaven reality that we're freely being given. We just have to be able to receive it.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree with that. And then full embodiment of that, that reality that, it all starts within. As we heal ourselves, we heal the world around us. And like you were saying before, when we become activated, we activate those around us. So I guess it's just holding space until others can see. But it's sucks we can't just like wake people up instantly and just tell them, hey, like, look, this is the truth. Why is there so much of a blindness that, they just, the veil is thick with some. User says we can't change the end of the world will eventually come, I believe, but distant future. So the world abideth forever. That's Ecclesiastes 1:4. There's no end of the world. It's the end of the world as we know it. So this reality that we see, this system, this beast system, will crumble, and a new world will be built. And that's the whole prompt here, is like, we have to change something by building a new model that makes the existing model obsolete. So what are the steps in doing that? Brian, did you go ahead?
That's what Jesus came to do. He presented something new, and the old just had to vanish.
Right. Absolutely.
And I think
Kind,
a lot of it, if you notice, they start small and they start pumping a lot of fear into the situation. And I was told, I hadn't counted it, but I was told that Christ in the Bible said, "Do not fear," over 365 times. So that's one for every day of the year. So, and they play on it, and they get people so caught up in the fear factor that they just, I guess they get caught up in it and don't really think logically.
Yeah, for sure. Fear keeps you in obedience as well.
It
So,
does.
yeah.
Can we talk about the science behind why it does that?
Yes, please.
So, in your temple, like if you put your hand on your temples, you have an amygdala in each side. This is the fear center of your brain. When you are in fear, it wedges open that amygdala and you have all these stress hormones that come out and it takes control. All of your energy is then put into fight or flight, and it's literally taken away from your thought processes so that you can fight or flight whatever situation that you're in. So you're literally not thinking. In this state, you are more easily led. So this is why they force feed a fear timeline into the news. By the way, the news is for entertainment purposes only. It's not factual. It is just there to get you to buy into the timeline. And,
Propaganda, for sure.
it is all propaganda. It's fear propaganda, because they know that if they can keep you in that state, they can lead you easily because you're not using your thought processes. And that's science. That's
Yep. I gotta let my dog in. Keep going. Yes, I agree. So how do we break others out of the fear?
right. And that's why the disease is also its own remedy, because as when you put your time, intention, and energy into your fears, you notice how those fears end up happening and you end up having to face them, because you are creating your reality. When you put your time, attention, and energy into those things that you're scared of, and then they pop up in front of you, it's because now you have to face that fear. Once you face that fear and you no longer, it clears it from your energetic body and you can move on from that. So the disease is its own remedy, because as you go through the process and you face those things, you will finally come into the realization that you honestly have nothing to fear, and you will get there through experience.
That's why dis-ease is the most, it's one of the things that are working in your highest and greatest good if you understand it. The problem is that people don't understand that their dis-ease, their sickness, is their soul's way of screaming at them. I mean, literally screaming at them that you are so far removed from self.
Right.
You are so far removed that your body is doing what it's doing. So sickness starts with just a little cold. Sickness is just a little something, right? It's just a little something. And then that little something will grow if you are not addressing what is going on. And fear is the greatest weapon that they could possibly use. Yeah. Just think about the fear of not having clean water. Just think about the fear of this big food thing. I finally know how to step back and go, I'm doing the best I can with everything that I know and the knowledge that I have, and I'm doing the best I can at putting the best things inside of me. But at the end of the day, you have to just trust that you're making the best choices and decisions that you can make, because you don't know what they're doing. We don't know. We have to just say, I trust the creator that created me. I trust myself. I'm doing the best that I can each and every day. Because if you worry about all of the little things, I'll use myself as an example. I worried so desperately for my own children. And I so thank God for waking me up and showing me so many things. Because when you are in this religious indoctrination, and then if your children don't look the part that the religion tells you, it is so it's a psychological mind F, to be honest with you. And my oldest daughter chooses to be in a same-sex marriage. And according to my religion, you can imagine what mind games I had to play on myself and how I grew out of that. But that took time. It took a lot of self-work and seeking and knocking for the truth. And that's basically how I came to where I'm at. I'm like, I just want truth, God. Just lead me into truth. And if everybody realized that, if everybody woke up and just said, okay, I'm going to shut everything out. Just shut the world out. I'm going to shut the media off. I'm going to shut everything off, God. And I'm going to give you me, myself, and I want you to show me the truth. I will tell you that if you dedicate to that, the truth will be found.
Yeah.
So if people don't want the truth, if they don't want to know the truth, there's nothing that we can do. That's why we have to know that we have such a beautiful sovereign God that even if in this lifetime they do not receive what they're supposed to receive, it's going to come. It's going to come. It's every soul will be set free.
And when you operate outside of the truth, you're going to have an experience that you don't prefer. And so like Paul in the chat is saying, there's truly nothing to fear but fear itself. And that is so true. Fear, so like if we're a light switch, fear is what would turn that light switch off. It breaks the circle of love and trust between you and God. If you allow fear in, that means that you're telling God that you don't trust that God is with you, protecting you, and all the promises are yours. So through your fear, you're rejecting God's relationship with you. So, oops, I'm pushing buttons. And then Paul says, you claim a religion. Here's the thing. Where God is present, no religion is required because you don't need directions to get to somewhere that you're already at.
Yeah. Yeah. So no, and I don't think anybody on the panel claims a religion. But because it looks like that was a question. Somebody asked about hell. So, see, my sister, like I said, who is deep in the church, has so many, speaking of diseases, so much wrong with her physically. Not just mentally as well, but physically, like fibromyalgia, diabetes, like I could go on and on, PTSD, which is mental. But anyways, it's like her medications are probably like in the teens to 20s a day, different medications. It's ridiculous. And I don't know why she can't see that. I gave her a book. I forget what it was called. I know that Marley always mentions The Body Keeps a Score. It was something along those same lines. She doesn't read it. Like, how do we make them want the truth? Like, is there a way to trigger that? Like, that peace? Like, that they...
Mostly they will not hear it from you, sweetheart. Our family members don't listen. Unfortunately, they don't. They're not. She's not going to hear it from you because you're not living the lifestyle that she thinks you should be living.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay, so if you're not living the way she thinks you should be living, then guess what? You're going to go on deaf ear. And it's pretty ironic that how many people are sick in the church. It's pretty ironic how many pastors are sick in the church. It's pretty ironic. Like my pastor back in Washington, she was always something was wrong with her. Because my pastors back in Washington, it was a married couple and they both preached in the church. And but anyway, she was always sick, fibromyalgia, had a cancerous lump in her breast. I mean, just always something. And when you are under the indoctrination that it's meant for us to be sick and die. So people really believe you come in, you know what, if you get sick and you're supposed to die. It's just the way life is supposed to be. No, that's the thing. That's not the way life was supposed to be. We were not supposed to come in and just get sick and we were supposed to die. That's not how it was supposed to be. If you are sick in your temple, God is trying to reach you. And that's the key component. People do not see in churches that if they are sick, dealing with whatever they're dealing with, no matter what it is, even as simple as diabetes, type 2 or whatever you want to, because that's so healable. Type 2 diabetes is so easily healable. And it's so sad because they do not understand that is their soul screaming at them. And they can't. And until you are open, unless you open your mind to be able to go outside the box, they're going to stay in the box.
Yeah, and she can see things other like with the other aspect, the political and the PDFs going on and all that. She can see that. So it's like, why can't you see what's happening with the church too? It's all part of it. You know what I'm saying?
Because then she would have to address something within herself. Ultimately, at the end of the day, if she was to buy into what you are saying, then she would then have to address something within herself. She would then have to go and do something. This is why Christianity is the biggest religion around the world, because it's the religion that says Jesus did everything and you just have to ask for forgiveness and be a good human being. That's all you got to do. And you're going straight into the pearly gates.
It's the epitome of spiritual bypassing.
100%.
Snake had asked what he does about his fear of hell. So if we can touch on hell, because I think that's part of, the religious trauma that we deal with. And Snake, I was going to say invite up. Here we go.
Hey, honeybee.
Yes.
Hey, I'm going to be doing some things around the house, but I'll still be listening. If you need to drop me to make room, just drop me.
Okay. Thank you. So Snake, I know you've been in mine and Drummer's lives before. So hell is not biblical, right?
Actually, what made me deconstruct is when I actually dove into myself and I was like, well, it's not really here. That led to the question, what was Jesus saving from? And then it all fell apart from there. But it's like, I don't believe in it, but it's like every time I come up to some kind of a blasphemous doctrine, like I go on Drummer's lives, I love the way he does his lives, but it's so blasphemous. And I'm just like, the fear of hell is there. But I'm like, I don't even believe in hell. Why? So I'm like, you said to face your fear. Like, how do I face my fear of hell? You know what I'm saying?
Question for you. Why would you think that Drummer's lives are blasphemous?
Well, just because, like, if you think about the doctrine of the church versus what he's saying.
But not for you personally.
No, not for me. Not for me, no.
Good. Just wanted to establish that real quick. So basically, how the whole point of Jesus coming wasn't to save us from hell. It wasn't to save us in general. It was for the old covenant system the Jews were under, the Mosaic law, to dismantle that and bring us into a new covenant of grace right? So we technically, are, even if there was such thing as hell, we wouldn't even be subject to that, because we technically do not sin. Sin was transgression of that Mosaic law. And so it pretty much, if you want to think of hell as anything physical, it's this realm. It's this realm that we live in, that we have to keep continuing to come back to learn these lessons and to ascend our consciousness. But in my opinion, it's just a state of mind. It is that fear state. So it's basically the same. If you have fear of hell, you're basically, it's like a loop. It is, hell is fear. It's
Right.
that lower.
And
Go ahead.
hell, believing in hell is a great example of how we project things into this life through our own creation power. If you believe in hell and you give it time, attention, and energy, you're going to experience those beliefs. And that is what will ultimately get you away from it as well. But like, we truly worship in our temple, in the temples where the amygdala is where we worship. If you are worshiping fear, you're going to activate that amygdala, you're going to open it up, and you will experience life from a fear state. And in this state, life happens to you. You are a victim. When you no longer worship fear, when you conquer that fear, and it's even beyond faith. When you know God personally, you no longer have anything to fear, and you don't reject the relationship, and it closes down that amygdala, and you live in a totally different.
Thank you. Yeah.
Through my life, like, since I was born, all I can remember is, growing up in the church, right? So naturally, I believed that my whole life, and I just kind of went through life. I would be what you consider the lukewarm Christian, the heretical blasphemy of a Christian, but it's like I kind of realized that I've been walking with God my whole life and not realizing it by not being a hardcore member of the church and just kind of going through. And I've really never had anything ever happen to me that was inherently horrible, like sickness or disease. I'm no sickness, no disease. I'm perfectly healthy. Blood pressure's a little high, but it's not never anything horrible. I've never had anything crazy happen in my. I've had a very boring life, and I guess you would say I'm kind of tired of it. But my sister, on the other hand, she's hardcore Christian. She grew up in the church, immediately went to Bible college, immediately started going all over the world doing ministries in Trinidad and Afghanistan, like you name it. She's been there, and she's back in America. She got married to a guy in New Mexico, and they have this massive Bible ranch out there. It's thousands of acres, and they go out and grab children and bring them over there and indoctrinate them. And she's got like 6 kids herself, but their life is a living hell. Like, they're nothing but problems. Car problems, sickness. Like, her kids are always sick. Whenever they come and visit, me and my wife, we get terribly sick. The kids are always coughing. One of her kids actually died a while ago. Like they've had horrible luck, I guess I would say. But they just, every time something happens, which is 4 to 5 times a day, she posts on her Facebook about something horrible that happened to him. She's like, praise God. And I'm like, I don't know if that's what it's supposed to be. Like,
Yeah.
my parents are hardcore Christian, but they're not like preachy and doing the church stuff, and they're perfectly healthy. Like, they don't have any issues. But the only person in my family who is hardcore church, and they are just it's horrifying. I feel so bad for her kids. But, I'm not going to sit there and I'm not judging them in any way. Like, I love my sister and my family, but I look at their lives and I'm just like, I feel bad for what they're going through. And I'm just like, if it wasn't for the church and them neglecting their own needs,
Bingo.
they could
You
be
just
healthy.
said it. Did you just
You
hear what he
know?
just said? They're neglecting their own needs because they feel, and chimed in because this is going to make me cry. Because when I was so sick back in Washington, my original diagnosis was complex regional pain syndrome. It's a very painful neurological condition. It has to do with the central nervous system. But anyways, when I was taken off work and I couldn't tithe, I just thought I have to volunteer more. I have to do more, right? Because now I can't tithe. It's just a psychological upheaval, and there's no peace in any of it. So you're in your mind, you're thinking, oh my gosh, I can't do this anymore. So what can I do? Because the church basically does not tell you to take care of yourself. The church clearly tells you that your responsibility is to take care of somebody else always. And if your cup is
they don't even mean take care of their needs, just take care of their salvation. It's like,
right, they don't
sad.
understand that. They don't understand what salvation really is. They do not truly understand what salvation truly is because of the blanket of indoctrination that is over them. And at this moment in time, I understand where you're coming from. My oldest daughter doesn't go to church or anything like that, but her life is constant problems, one thing after another, always something, right? And how I handle that as her mother now, from this standpoint, I literally view her as healthy, whole, and complete. I now view my grandchildren, my 2 grandchildren, healthy, whole, and complete. Thank you, God, for providing every single thing that they need. Thank you, God, for providing, the health and the wellness. I try really hard now, instead of looking at them the way it seems to look, because the way it looks bleak, right? So now I look at it as if it is all good. And it has helped me stay in alignment in myself, because at the end of the day, I can't go over there and do anything for them. You cannot go to their home and make it all better. You can't. You want to save them. Being a parent has really helped me understand God's position. Because you can do nothing for your kids. It has to be them.
We can't have kids, and like me and my wife, we can't have kids, and but we both have an understanding that we're actually going to be taking care of my sister's kids. Like, we both kind of subconsciously know that hardcore life they're living in, when their kids turn from it, they're going to be kicked out.
Of course. And that's exactly what you are called to do. Just be a light for them.
Like, we randomly from Illinois to Texas moved. We're randomly closer to them. And just the way that they live, obviously, like, no kid's going to want to live like that. I know I wouldn't anyways, but we subconsciously know that we're going to wind up taking care of them. And I guess we're ready for that.
They're very lucky to have you, to want to do that, because it takes a very beautiful soul to step up to take care of another soul that needs that. I look at that as the most profound, beautiful work you could do.
Because up until my whole life, there's really never been a work for me, like, I drive semi-trucks all over the country, I interact with nobody, I don't even call anybody, like, I'm just alone, and then, and I thought it interesting, I don't know who it was that said they moved from Oregon to Tennessee, and said that, they wanted to be with their people, and then they
Oh,
woke up
me. I
randomly.
moved from Washington State, the West Coast, to Tennessee to come be with my people.
Yeah,
And 3 years
I
later,
guess I
God woke me up.
subconsciously I did the same thing. Illinois to Texas. I'm in the most Christian redheaded state there is, and suddenly it's like, boom, wake up. It's like, oh, come on. But
Exactly.
I
Exactly.
realized that why why be where you're accepted?
That's a
What's the
good way to
point?
look at it.
Yeah.
We came here to Texas, and suddenly I wake up, and now I look around and go, holy cow! I am surrounded
Look at
I
Melissa's
am
face.
surrounded by the
I'm
most
here too in
evil
Texas.
people.
Yeah. And I'm in a very small town in Texas. I'm not sure where you're at, but that's how it is here. And I guess I'm supposed to be, I always say we're spread out for a reason, like to anchor in the light, to be that light in the darkness, you know.
Yeah, we went to Sweeney, Texas, really just for the beach, but
Green Rising. Oh, okay. Cool.
Well, in 2020, I had a vision of me driving my car into a whole new world in 2020. And that is when I realized that what really we were in the embarking of moving. I mean, I thought that was meaning that Jesus was going to come back at the time. And little did I realize that Jesus already came back, and Christ needs to rise inside of you. And when the Christ rises inside of you, when that Christ comes up and it rises inside of you, you're able then to see things from such a perspective that will really blow your mind. You're able to see things clearer. You're able to see things that, from my awakening, I didn't realize how asleep I was. I watched The Matrix, and I had to literally watch The Matrix all over again from a woke perspective, from being awake, because obviously the first few times I watched it, it didn't settle inside of me. It really didn't.
like a lot of people talk about their awakening and they see everything now, but see, mine was, I don't know if it's because I was deep in prayer and asked for knowledge, but when I got knowledge, it was actually the fact that I knew absolutely nothing. And I still know absolutely nothing. And no matter how much I learn, I'm just like, no. Like I can't get enough. And I just keep learning and learning and trying and it just all amounts to nothing. And I've kind of come to the conclusion, like, obviously mine's kind of based around the heaven and hell concept, because that's something I'm trying to get over. And I came to a realization recently that if we knew what was there after, we wouldn't live. Like they want to say that they're going to heaven, and my dad's, I'm going to heaven when I die. I'm like, then why are you alive? What's the point? If you know where you're going, there's really no point.
Backsliding Christian, little do they know I am closer to God.
Yeah, Seven Teacher, you were kind of mumbled there. What was that?
Oh, I didn't know I was up. Nice.
You requested up, so we have another request.
Well, we were talking about that. I heard that lady say something about her vision she had in 2020. I also had something happen to me in 2020 while I was in church. I guess you could call it a vision, but it's more like a knowing. And I'm on the praise and worship team. I've been in church for 3 years. I love these people. And suddenly, as I'm playing this song, I believe I tapped into the thoughtless realm that Jesus spoke of. And suddenly everything changed. And I looked around and asked myself, what am I doing here? And it was intense. And I didn't tell anyone about it because, I'm sure someone at church would have thought I was being overtaken by the devil or something crazy. But since then, I have been on this tornado of a path of awakening. And it's been one thing after another, including losing my dad, which is one of the worst but best things that has happened to me.
Yeah.
I
Just
think
wanted to
that's the
say that.
most beautiful part is like you realize you've never lost, they're just not here in front of you. They go on, everyone goes on to their highest and greatest, best version of themselves. And I think that to me is more magical to know that evolution continues. It's nothing that I thought it was.
Right. It is all life. It is all life. And that's why Jesus conquered death in the grave, because it is all life. Um, Fawn had said something quite a few comments back when Marley was talking about she just focuses on everything is good in their life. Fawn said, my problem with that is if you're grateful for your situation, health, won't it stay? So life and death is in the tongue. And when you program your brain that you are grateful that they for where they are at, you're going to speak life over them. So the programming is in the tongue. And as you speak life over them, you will see more growth. So it's actually the best thing that you can do for them.
That's the most powerful prayer. Instead of praying from a place of lack, from a place of they're not there yet, oh God, please go help them, right? You're already praying from a place of success, as if it was done, because that's how Jesus said, come to me, ask. I'm praying as if it's already been done. The work has already been done, and I'm thanking for that work. And that's how I view everything now. What is it and how do I want to see it? Well, I want to see my family grow in the direction that's best for them. Well, who knows what's best for them? The creator knows what's best for them. I don't know what's best for them. So am I going to pray from my perspective of what I think is best for them? And that's what we have to stop and think about when we pray. Is it from the perspective of what I think is best? Is that what I'm praying for? No, I want to pray for what God's best is, what the will of the Father to be done, not the will of Marley, not the will of, oh, okay, well, I want this in their life, and I don't think my daughter should live this way, so I'm going to pray for that. We cannot pray our children to be straight. We cannot pray for our children to think the way we do. They are sovereign individual beings. We should be praying from that place.
Yeah.
I'm going to go for a walk, but I will come back, you guys.
Okay, sounds good, Marley.
Okay,
Thank you.
bye-bye.
I appreciate you. So yeah, so I mean, I have a nightly meditation that I do, and I have a long list of people that I send love and light, and like Marley said, like they're already healed. you know, um, I think that that's very important when we send, if it's prayers or just good vibes or whatever, if you're not religious or spiritual, however you look at it, just sending those intentions out of already wish fulfilled. And like she said, that's a good point. Not what our wishes are, but the will of the Father.
That's a beautiful way of looking at things. Another thing to remember, and just to keep it simple, if you look at Psalms 1, verses 1 through 3, it talks about the importance of meditation.
Yes.
And that is a very important underlying understanding that's there. When you begin to practice your meditation, a good way to do it, because you should do it at least 3 times a day, is when you shower. When you shower, water carries right, life. Water is sentient. You get in the shower. Help yourself to shift your consciousness. And while you're in that shower, speak. Water also is a conductor of energy.
Yes.
So while you're in that shower, you speak. And one thing you can do that once when you relax yourself is to, in the shower, is to collapse timelines, to go to where it is that you need to be, and to see that thing in its complete form, right? So as that power emanates from your heart, your consciousness will bring that thing forward from the fifth dimension through the fourth, which is where time and space exist, into your manifestation on the third dimensional realm. Dry yourself off and stand knowing that it's done. It's done. And leave it right there. Leave the bad vibes going down the drain, whatever you need to do. Hey, listen, what's that? The 21st, we got the spring equinox happening. Step into your newness.
Love that. That is an awesome practice. And
Mm-hmm.
water. When I'm in water, whether it's in the shower or just around natural water, I do receive more like revelation. So that I think it's all connected. Like you said, it holds memory, or somebody in the comments said it holds memory. Yes,
Yeah, I said that.
programmable. Yeah. So I do believe that water is super powerful for manifestation and setting our intentions.
Well, see, I have a problem when I meditate. I don't know if it's normal,
What is it?
or at least when I try. I don't know if I've ever really meditated, but I'll go in, I'll close my eyes, I'll be still, try to quiet my mind, and I can see things, colors and spinning things and whatnot, and they're all moving away from me, but I'll move toward it so that they start coming towards me. And normally when I'm going through whatever I'm seeing, or I'll start to see images, it all makes no sense to me. I can't make any sense of it, but as soon as I do that, I don't really know what's happening, but it feels like I'm dying, and I come back and my heart is like either not beating or beating way too fast.
Oh, okay. Let me share something with you concerning that. So the first thing you need to realize is that you, first of all, need to relax your physical self, right? And so through your breath control, you calm your nervous system. Calm
Yeah, and
your...
when that happens, like when I tell you that I'm trying to move towards what I'm seeing, like it's a weird sensation of like you could throw my body out a window and I won't feel it.
I'm trying to share
But I
something
feel
with
like
you. I'm
I
a
feel like
martial
I'm
art
actually
instructor. I'm
getting
trying to
up
share
and
something
going
with you
towards it.
because I heard exactly what you're saying. So I'm just sharing something with you that I've been doing in real time for over 40 years. So once you calm your nervous system down, you have to gain control over your nervous system. It might be something that you are experiencing, some trauma somewhere. Your thoughts can take you there. It can speed your heart rate up. But once you begin to relax your nervous system, then, only then, when you relax your physical self, can you then relax your mind. And once you go there, because you see there's phases to this, once you go there, then you can slip into altering your consciousness. So just remember those simple two things that I just said, and you'll be all right.
Well, I was talking to a drummer yesterday. I think you were on there, Honeybee, when I talked about that experience. That was the most vivid one I had. And when I went through that and I transported and I went all these different places like so vividly, and when I came out of that, it felt like I had been dropped from the stratosphere, came into my body, and I actually banged my head on my window like wicked hard when I came out of it. Like, and when I came out of it, my heart was racing, but it felt like I died and then I came back to life kind of situation.
You definitely had an out of body experience. It sounded like.
And that was, I wasn't even trying to meditate. I just woke up at 2 a.m. and fell asleep at work.
So that happens to me sporadically. I can't control it, but astral projection is what it sounds like. So yeah, just like is it Simba? Simba was saying
La
the
Samba.
rabbits.
Yeah.
Little Simba, I love
La,
that.
la Samba.
Oh, less Simba. Is that like something with the Lion King, or is that just something that is different
No,
from
no, no, no,
Africa?
no. That is actually the name of my first martial art instructor.
Okay, cool.
It means the lion.
I love it.
Dashihan means grandmaster because I'm at the level now. I'm a 10th degree black belt.
Awesome. Well, side note, Lion King is my favorite movie of all time. So
Cool, cool.
I love the Simba thing. So yeah, I forgot what I was saying about the. Oh, it happens to me. I can't control those things. Like some people can leave their body at will, and but that may be just like to me. I'm getting like a taste of what I'm capable of. You know, so really like when you have those experiences, like really meditate on, like now we're reflecting back on what you saw and what you experienced, because more will come. Like it'll get, those experiences will increase, and there's something to show you there. Like my last one, I was taken to my Akashic records, and I was introduced to one of my spirit guides, and so they get more and more like revealing, I should say.
See, I've heard about the whole like I don't really know anything. My knowledge is so minuscule, and I kind of refuse myself to label everything so it's not offensive to anybody. I
That's
just
a great thing, to be honest with you.
yeah, so I don't label
When you don't know, you're
projections or
fresh.
spirit guides.
That means you're going to have some real experiences that's not led by what you've heard. Because sometimes when we hear other things, our experience is tainted with what we expectation of something. Go in with no expectation. And that's how you receive everything. Just
I think
go in
that's what
relaxing.
happened
Go
yesterday,
in
because usually I
relaxing.
go in wanting some kind of truth or knowledge, and yesterday I
No,
just kind
no.
of snapped
That's not
into
that's
it.
not that's not how you do it. There's two forms of concentrations that you need to deal with when you are practicing this from the beginning. So I'm going to keep it simple when I say these things. So hold on to these words. The first step is called subjective concentration. Relaxing yourself, forgiving yourself, purifying yourself, letting things go so that you can be subjective to receive. And once you receive, the next one after subjective is objective. That means your thought is focused and it has purpose. Once you shift your consciousness and your higher self is connected, all the things that you've studied, all the things that you have been seeking will come forward. And your answers will come most of the time, soon as you come out of meditation. Or things is led to you. Things, a song, a place, people call you, you get a letter, no matter however it's going to come to you. But you have to learn to trust yourself. You have 75 trillion cells in your body, and each one of those cells is designed to help you. And once you begin to venture inside yourself, you see that each cell is sentient. These are the things that Jesus the Christ was talking about. Go within, my friend, and be like the water, the ebb and the flow. Go with the tide.
Would you say it's wrong to think about how powerful you are or how powerful you could be?
No, I don't think about power. I don't think about those things. Go in with no expectations. That's how you receive everything. The first law of the universe is oneness. The first law. The second law is correspondence, which is as above, so below, within and without. The third law is called vibration, right? Now, out of 105 laws that I've been practicing that are universal laws, these three is what help you to develop a firm foundation. Once you develop the foundation, all will be revealed.
I agree with that.
And so yes. And also in martial arts, our power is energy that is directed. So when we are able to direct our energy accurately, we are in our power. And that's exactly what we're doing.
Damon,
I've been
welcome
getting
up.
these urges though, like trying to leave my job and go do something so batshit insane, basically, like something I'm very against too. like like I want to leave my industry and go into government. Excuse me.
See, again, that's a question for meditation. Go in meditation. Ask your higher self what's going on.
I don't know nothing about government, but I feel like I'd do a lot better than what we got.
Yeah, and it's kind of like the prompt here, you know, going back to that, how do we build? I mean, this isn't just about government, but this is about all the beast system that we are basically under right now. How do we build something new to make the existing
Exactly.
obsolete?
But I mean, is
Well,
that only spiritual or is that real world? I mean,
Yeah,
that
real.
all is one, my friend. Like I said, all is one.
Everything's connected. Everything.
That's right. All is one.
Well,
Now, that's interesting that you say government. Watch this. I would say simply the word government means to put in order or bring order to what is, for things to be governed, right? So to bring order to what is, get to know yourself.
Love yourself, man. That was the key for me.
There you go. Get to know yourself. And if everybody is getting on the oneness, getting in that Zen state and that oneness, then you got family, you got community, and so on and so forth. That is true government. That is cosmic government. You
so
see?
how do we delineate between what is the delusion and what is the actual reality?
How do you look at what is an illusion?
How do you delineate between the delusion or the illusion, the lies believed, and the true reality?
Truth comes from within. Truth is trust. It's basically the same word. Truth is that girds up that is potent, that is conducive to who and what you are on every level, not just the lower nature, but it's the lack of the conflict of the lower nature. Those of you that thump that Bible, look, Galatians, the 5th chapter, starting at the 13th verse, it talks about now that you have found freedom or liberty, don't use it to devour one another. It said that the spirit always wars against the flesh and vice versa, seeking to be in control. You see? So that's a thing within yourself. True conflict and strife starts from within. That's why it is important that you get into what's going on with you. Relax your nervous system. The first thing that was said in Genesis, they said, hey, look, there's a tree in the midst of the garden. That tree is the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. That's your nervous system, people. That's
Right.
how you perceive anything.
like
And
Huh?
for government
there's
would be correcting myself, setting order for myself.
Mm.
there's a reason that it's being illustrated as in external information that we had to take into our operating system in order to have the experience of, because it's not truly how we are originally created to operate.
Yeah.
You're correct. There you go. That's the shift. That's the shift. That's the puppet master trying to hook you up to move you how they want to have you. You gotta choose different leadership within yourself. Trust yourself.
Sovereignty.
There you go. Trust yourself.
Right. So when we come into our sovereignty and we have a larger part of the population that's walking in sovereignty, this government, this over control will not have space to exist. Like the over control only exists because of the fear ideology that we've taken in.
Fear has torment. There's no. Let me see how I can put this. Fear and love can't exist at the same time.
Right? Antithesis.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And that's where delusion comes from, right? Trying to experience the what is alongside of the what is not, what it isn't.
That's why when you go in, don't expect anything. So therefore, when whatever comes, it should be there. You'll know because your passions within you, your natural passions, the 7 passions, will be balanced. Right? You'll have temperance. Out of the temperance will birth fortitude. Out of the fortitude, you'll find your prudence. Now, when you look up that word prudence, look at the fact that it is greater than wisdom. It is the ability to rightfully discern what is the right thing to do at the right time. And then the 4th one out of those cardinal virtues is justice. You be able to make the right judgment call.
Kind of like a gut feeling, maybe.
On a higher level. Yeah, but on a higher level.
I feel you.
Because see, gut feeling, in the Asian teachings, they talk about the lower dantian. That's the gut. That is the lower brain. Okay. That's your gut feeling, which it does have intuition. That's your lower brain connected to the bottom of your vagus nerve. But you want to move up because the heart is also has thinking capabilities as well. And once you line up all of that at the top, your sanctum sanctorum heaven, which is your left and right hemisphere, your brain.
I appreciate you telling me all that. That's really cool. Thanks, man.
Well, yeah, you 10th degree black belt. I better know something.
Yeah, well, I didn't know that. I appreciate. I'm not gonna lie to you. I appreciate that.
But that's how it works.
Someone who might have an answer.
Huh?
I got a question for someone who might have an answer.
Here's mine.
So I don't know. I'm assuming that reincarnation's a big thing for everybody here.
Oh yeah.
We all pretty much.
It's a real thing. Go ahead.
Okay,
it's a real thing. Not a belief. It's a knowing.
So we come in and we regenerate every death, and so that essentially makes us eternal, right? So, like, what would... There cannot be an end goal, right? Or would there be an end goal, and what would that look like?
It's resolving the illusion is the purpose behind this experience. And that's just to bring us into being full grown, being grown up, being fully informed. We're just experiencing the what is alongside of what it isn't to mature our soul into the level of understanding, to the level of knowing. We ultimately
well, in some teachings they talk about 9 different reincarnations. Some talk about a few thousand. But here's the thing about reincarnation: to ask another person outside of you, what is your purpose? That's not good, because all will be revealed to you. I can't do the work for you. I can't pass the test for you. This might be your last incarnation. You might need to go a few times. It depends on the work that you have done and must do. You see? because your soul remembers. So that is a journey that you must take. Now know this though. Know this though. The truth is not far off. It reveals itself to those that's ready and worthy to receive it. You gotta put your hands on the plow.
Facing with myself one day where trying to figure out like what's the point of dying and rebirth and blah blah blah. And, like I just randomly thought to myself like death to the body is birth to the spirit, and the equivalent of death to the body for the spirit would be birth to the body, death to the spirit. And I was thinking to myself, I was like, we die, we go into the spirit as the spirit is within us now, and the spirit kind of goes through the same thing, but in the spirit realm. And what that realm is we're building everything, emotions, physical properties, and we go through that until we complete the job there, and then we come back to experience what we built.
Let me ask you this.
As we're living, the people who have died before us are also doing that while we're here. And it somewhat explained to me like why the traditions of people seem to overlap into our world after they're gone, and then the traditions of us will overlap into the next generations, and why we have repeating cycles.
Let me ask you this. Have you ever planted a seed in the
into the next generations, and why we have repeating cycles?
Let me ask you this. Have you ever planted a seed in the ground? Have you ever physically planted anything?
Yeah.
Okay. Don't forget that. Don't forget that feeling. Reaping and sowing. Sowing and reaping. Put more energy into that instead of contemplating death. Contemplate life.
Yeah.
Positivity.
I think that's what it was trying to tell me is like we're building here. Continue building. When you're gone, you'll come back to reap rewards, basically.
Well, I mean, what is reality? What is reality truly in its most basic form is it's all energy in a state of potential, and we are conductors through which we give energy form and matter.
You believe in like archetypes then? Like everybody has their own kind of archetype, creators, lovers.
You mean like pre-planned?
Not necessarily pre-planned, just kind of what our specific functions are.
Well, we all have the same potentiality. Is that what you mean?
Well, I guess I was like we're all like what you're saying is we're capable of all doing the same exact thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, because mine was more like if I'm a creator archetype and my wife is a love archetype and then someone else is a leader archetype, and that's just their specific functions, their skills that they have.
At the most fundamental level, we all have the same potentiality.
Archetypes are just there to give us, like, in my opinion, it's like, yeah, we embody those different aspects of our personality, our character and stuff, just to help us like along the way to see how, what is the right word? Not fulfill, but I guess in a way we fulfill these different archetypes. And like Rosie mentioned in the comments about, I thought we needed 12 reincarnations, like the 12 zodiacs, so like that's another thing of archetypes, in my opinion. Like the zodiacs, kind of like those are things that we must embody and like almost perfect, but not perfect, but just fully realize within ourselves and actualize. That's the word I'm looking for. And I'm not sure if Lisimba's still in here, but thank you so much for coming up and sharing your wisdom. It says he had to go. So I'm going to refill my water. if you have any more questions, or if I can still hear from where I'm at, but feel free to share. And if there's anybody else that would like to come up and share or ask questions, I'll move out of the way so y'all can see the prompt, but we can discuss pretty much anything spiritual.
One more question, and then I got to get back to work. But the thing with reincarnation that's been causing me lack of knowledge is, how do I explain population growth? If there was only 150,000 people on Earth, 10,000, 5,000, 3,000 years ago, but then we have 2.8 billion people later, and like, my question is, how does reincarnation explain that if we only have a finite amount of souls?
Well, we don't have a finite amount of souls. There's new souls being born all the time. That's why we have old souls and new souls. And so, Journey of Souls by Dr. Michael Newton, I would suggest reading, and he has others. He's a hypnotist, a doctor that hypnotizes people to recall between lives. That might help answer, excuse me, something in my throat, some of your questions on reincarnation and afterlife of hell, heaven and hell and all that. But like Lucinda said, go within also, and these answers, will be revealed to you. But if you want some guidance along the way, it never hurts to read books.
I understand that. Like, when I go on these lives and I ask these questions, like, I'm not taking what anyone tells me literally. Not to be rude or anything. It's just I'm getting ideas, and then I explore the ideas. That's what I'm doing here. So I'm getting as much idea as I can, and then I explore it. So I guess, like, how would you differentiate an old soul from a new soul?
I don't know if we need to. I definitely feel like an older soul is going to be those awakening. Hey, thank you for the heartbeat. At a quicker pace, you know what I'm saying? Those that are still asleep are probably newer souls because they haven't experienced as many incarnations to realize what we have.
It's like kind of easier to latch on to the earthly philosophies and stuff like that.
Right, because we come here and we're in a deep sleep, right? And we're influenced by all the material things around us, and that's the illusion, the lies believed, like Gentleman likes to say. So then as we awaken, as we experience more and more and see beyond the veil, then we, basically, you said, is there an end goal? I think our end goal is just our level of consciousness that we ascend to, that then breaks us free from the grasp of the material realm, where we live not for the world, in the world, but not of the world, right? I gotta let my dog out. I'll be right back.
And so the thing is, when we come into this realm as infants, we have over 1 million more neural connections that are firing in our brain. And over the ages of 0 to 8, we're taking in the information that trims our neural tree back into the human experience. And then we experience reality through that shape of our neural tree. So we come in, even if we're a new soul, we come in here still fully in the truth, still in our divinity, and then we get trimmed back into the human experience.
Right.
So as we conquer this human experience, or the human ideology that we take on, as these infants come in, we can support them continuing to use those neural pathways. They don't have to lose them. We can keep our divinity.
Or thought experiment. I'm not saying I would ever do this, but I have a thought experiment where it's like, what if, I had a child, I went out to the woods, I didn't communicate with the child, raised that child to just be a carnal animal, and to only understand eat, sleep, repeat.
Hello,
Like, do you think they're
how
what
are
you said,
you?
neural functions? Do you think that would be any
Good.
different to them?
On the
Awesome.
panel,
So
can you
much.
mute?
Thank you.
Elliot, did you realize you came up?
Hi, good
Did you
morning.
mean to?
Yes, sorry guys. I'm
Okay,
just picking up some getting food delivered, but yeah, I'll be with you in a second. How are you? How's everybody?
good. Can you go on mute while you're not speaking? Thank you.
Yeah, 1 second.
And sorry,
Okay.
Snake, can you repeat that last part?
With no language, right? No understanding of the world, and all they have is their world, eat, sleep, repeat, right? Do you think that their neurons firing would dim down like how ours are in our worldly colonies, or do you think that they would have a higher self being, or do you think that awakening would just be inevitable no matter what?
Jen, I know that you know more about the brain and how it functions. I think that, yeah, they would be like more like the indigenous, where like nature and its oneness with spirit and stuff. But let's hear.
I missed kind of some of that. You said something about if you go out into the wilderness and you have an infant and you have no communication, no interaction with them, and you just eat, sleep, and repeat.
Interaction, like I would train them to eat, to sleep, to repeat, like just I would, if you trained them just survival, because the language thing is the most curious one for me, because then they wouldn't think in words, you know what I'm saying?
Okay, and we kind of don't think in words. We think more in pictures.
Oh, I don't. Mine are more conversations. I don't really have pictures.
We don't have pictures.
No. Like, I can generate an image in my mind,
Right.
or I can memorize something and see it, but I don't, when I think to myself, I don't think in pictures. And when I do, I usually get very distracted when I'm driving, because I drive for a living, so it's like I think I just trained myself out of that one.
So when you have a need that comes up in your operating system, it's like a feeling, it's like a picture, it's like, okay, I'm hungry, and then what am I hungry for?
No, like I have trouble with. Yeah, I don't think like that. Like I'll physically taste what I want to eat.
Right.
I won't know what it is though. Like I'll be like, I want beef. I don't think of like a picture of beef. I can taste it on my tongue though.
So you don't think in words.
Usually, like if I'm hungry and I'm thinking about food or something, like yeah, I don't see any pictures. I just think in words. I just start thinking like, where should I eat or what do I want to eat? But I don't. I never know. I never know anything.
And then it comes down to also experience, because a lot of what we're thinking we're pulling from previous experience.
Programming, correct.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I just
I
think in
like
the cardinal mind, someone who grew up without this world, it's like, I often think to myself,
imagine.
would it be an Adam and Eve situation where one day they suddenly think to themselves in whatever language they might have conjured up in their heads, do they wake up and eat the apple?
Up in the comments,
So
said that it has happened. Jeannie was a feral
so
child. It was neglect and abuse. Language is necessary.
so do you guys like? Can I say something?
Yeah,
All
of
right.
course.
So do you guys so I was read a few books, or not a few, a couple that about ancient civilizations and how they came about, um, with symbolism, and uh, how they, survived, and how what they did naturally, what came to them, as to survive with, nothing, and what they had in their, you know, in their situation how it was back then. And every civilization and thrived and survived through some type of exploring, or coming about a new of scenery, or however it was back then. It is a lot different now. So the book I'm talking about is Practical Guide to the Kabbalist. Is how you practice meditation, you practice breathing and all this stuff. And um I just think, yeah, well, we've been pre-programmed, I think, as humans for a long time to grow up how we are now, like you say, material things, how we need things, and how they uh control us. I want to say, like someone was saying earlier, right? I mean, the pre-programming factor that we have been through for so long, uh, it's changed over so long. But I believe we're all, can be very powerful. I think we are controlled by those who are powerful because they figured it out how to do it. So they figured, well, we have to do something to keep it this way. We need to control these masses of people somehow with telling them how to do this, making them seem or drawing a picture for them that's like, well, he's right. The way he's speaking it or the way they're saying it is right. We should follow that. It sounds good type of thing. Um, but yeah,
Kind of like the blind leading the blind.
in a sense, yeah, right, exactly,
Like we're
yeah.
in delusion.
Someone, yeah,
Yeah.
yes. But also, and I've also was reading up on other books, um, like the ancient teachings of secret societies, going way back a long time. And what do I want to say? Uh, Dang, I lost my chain of thought. Oh, well, so they practiced a lot of things and developed their form of how to live off the land, or they developed these things where people were so intrigued by it. They were like, well, what are they doing over here? What is these massive people doing over here? And I think they found a key, like they found something. You're like, well, what I'm trying to say. I'm sorry, guys. Having a brain moment.
Time break, please.
Um, like I felt they found something that was ultimately way more powerful than they imagined. Like they've never seen something, right? And they're like, well, how can we share this with other people without freaking them out if they weren't freaked out, you know? Um, yeah, God, I don't know what I'm
What's
trying to
the
say.
what's the best way to lead somebody out of their illusion when it's very difficult for them to take in the truth of the situation, like through verbal?
That as well, yeah. I think symbolism plays a bigger part in that, doesn't it? Let's see here. Like I'm a guess firm believer that I don't know. Just I don't know. I feel like the people that are in power now, or the people that are running, the people that make money, I guess, off of us, or of you know what I mean, of the sheep or whatever. They constantly put and say things to make us think a certain way. That's anything and everything, right?
Government.
Right, exactly. So, and I think that's been happening for so long, you know, and because they're afraid of people if we were to find out their secrets and what they're doing and what they have, how do they, did we get to this point? Um, Gosh, that they're really making us think and feel that okay, we have to set this rule. We have to set this, tell them this. They have to believe in this, and then switch it up on us. Like they could play with it anytime they want, and then we'll still fall into that. I don't know.
So then how do we delineate between what is the
Oh,
delusion and what is actual?
exactly. There you go. That's what. Yeah, you're right. Exactly. And it's yeah. And there's ways. I mean, there's ways. I mean, like the Buddhist monks and people who their mind power is strong. I know it is. I could definitely understand that the mind and the spirit, have strong energy, strong forces. Words spoken could have a great effect. You know,
Hmm.
you just by how you want to talk to somebody, the tone, the feeling, the conversation, the topic, anything like that,
The
it's
vibration.
the vibrations, correct? Yes. You set something in motion, you set it out there to another person, and just by how if they're having a bad day, you with your vibration and energy could say something, and that'll completely change for them with a positive affirmation or a positive anything towards them and completely change it. And that's right there. That's a big energy fusion changing thing happening with anyone. But yeah, like I don't know. I was reading that book and I found it fascinating, man, because the the druids. I read some things on them, how they were like wooded people in caves, fires, rituals, ceremonies. They use things from Mother Earth, from the ground, from the trees, certain stones, certain rocks, and they deeply believe that these have what they call them powers or energies so strong. Um, hey, excuse me, guys. Hey, babe, you okay?
Oh, I would agree. um, all those things do hold a frequency, and they are strong, especially with that belief behind it and that intention. The way of the shaman, exactly, Darren. And then seven teacher Thomas, there's only one way to do what you're saying, to live now and only now. Love now, forgive now. Yes, I agree. The present moment, stay in that. One job ultimately we all have to evaluate the now to our preferred outcome. I'm not sure if you meant evaluate or elevate. I would say elevate the now to our preferred outcome, because right now we need to elevate. But yeah, it's just, what are the next steps? Jen, did you have anything to add to that?
Oh, I was just gonna say, it's very difficult for the human mind to live very much in the now moment. We so badly want to know what the future holds, and we continue to cling to the past,
Yeah.
and it directs our energy to that experience. It is so freeing to be able to bring yourself fully into just the present moment and live for that. And it changes everything. It changes how life plays out.
Yeah. It's hard to do, unless you're in like a moment of like meditation or pure bliss, like you're just having fun, you're living in the now, right? Yeah, it's not easy. Um, but if you just have any time to sit idle, I think, and then you're in my experience, I'm always thinking about the future. I don't really worry about the past. I know that's dead and gone, and I can't change anything except through like meditation and intention. You can kind of, in a way, time travel, go back, and you know, um, even though you can't change it physically, kind of in a way, you can change your perception of what happened. Um, but yeah, like
Yes.
mostly I'm just worried because I have a son and I worry about his future and what, what are we doing to shape that for our children? I believe the current system has to crumble. We have to build anew, you know, to protect them and their future.
And it's also a false reality at play.
Yeah.
So how do we conquer that false reality so that it does not have energetic space to exist? Is truly what we're path that we're on.
Everything from my inner God. I don't look through my eyes anymore. I look through my God and know what the God desires and pursue that at that point in time.
I like
Yeah,
that.
we are all a reflection of the God that we believe in. And so, whatever characteristics you believe God to have, you will mirror into this experience, into this reality. So, like, this is where when you believe that God is a jealous God, well, then you are going to mirror jealousy into this reality.
Right.
You take on the characteristics that you believe your God to have.
Which is what's wrong
Yes.
with most
Okay.
of society. They're marrying a
It's
false
what?
God. Which is what's wrong with most of society. They're marrying a false God.
Exactly. Exactly. And that's where that false reality gets
Yeah.
its space to exist, is through that belief. Absolutely.
So that is maybe key to helping. I mean, I've spoken of that in the past on videos and stuff. That may be a direction to go with my content, to help wake people up to see that the lies there that they're believing in.
Well, I just can't understand how they go against the. We are literally, when we look at the Bible and we think that God is jealous and we think that God told them to go unalive people and to go take the women for themselves. So when you go in and you actually read the Bible for what it's saying to you and you actually process that, you realize that how can the God of creation go against its own commands? When you really logically sit and think about all of this, it really starts to unravel inside of you. You just got to get people to stop and think logically. Because when I went and read the Bible for myself starting in 2020, and I read the Old Testament, I immediately was like, okay, whoa, 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 wait a minute. Yahweh is Satan. I'm telling you, Yahweh is Satan. And I did this all on my own. And I implore everyone, because you go through so many processes when you're trying to unravel it. And I thought to myself, okay, well, this makes no sense. If God desires mercy and not sacrifice, I mean, you just stop and you think, and it will come to you. Just sit and meditate on it and think about this logically. How is it that a God that is so loving be jealous? That's a human characteristics. It's human characteristics, you guys. My God is not jealous.
And if God has created everything that's here and can recreate it, what does God have to be jealous of? What can
It's
God not do for God's self?
Right. If he's the most high God, who does he have to be with, you know? So, yeah, all these things are good points of how we can direct the attention of those who are on. And Marley, I love that. I've discovered it for myself as well. And then I found Josh and Cub and all the other people who confirmed that for me. But a lot of people don't read it for themselves. You know, they
and I
just
will
think
be the
they're passing
person.
the word.
I was
You
right there
know?
with them
Yeah,
because I did
me
how
too.
I read my Bible before 2020 happened. And I had, an out of body NDE experience that catapulted my fire as to wanting to go, what just happened to me? And I did not know what just happened to me. And so when I started to read it, my thought was, oh my gosh, like on myself. I've been following a religion. This was my own thought. I've been following a religion my whole life, and I've never sat down and read the Bible front to back. I never sat down and even questioned my beliefs. I never did. And one of the reasons for that is because I was a child, and then, growing up in the Baptist church, whenever you have questions, you get squashed.
Yep.
So after a while, you ask questions and you get squashed over and over again. You stop asking questions and you just start thinking that, okay, well, they know better because they're my mom and my dad. That's the pastor. They know better than me. I'm just a child. And at the end of the day, that's another ideology, because what you're saying is that a pastor can get closer to God than me, and that's the key component is nobody is closer to God than you. And when you understand that, it really opens up the floodgates of receiving all that God has for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's a big reason why the external temple was destroyed.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Welcome, Bree, Grand Rising. How are you?
I'm good. I didn't mean to hit the request button if
Oh,
I did.
yeah, you did.
I was sending my heart me.
Oh, well, you're up here. Did you want to add something or?
No, but I did want to ask, like, so when I was reading the Bible, I never got that God was Satan. I mean, I don't doubt y'all for a second. Like, because I did get a lot of things that a bunch of other people haven't. And you and I, honey, have been in Josh's comments a lot, and messaged each other kind of with the same thoughts. And so I'm interested to know that idea, I guess.
Well, for myself, how I walked away from that idea is after reading the Old Testament, it just didn't make any sense to me how this Yahweh character tells them to go unalive people and the things that they did. It just did not coincide. It didn't coincide with me as to this is completely not in the characteristics of this beautiful, loving God that Jesus is talking about. And I'm like, well, wait a minute. He reminds me more of the devil, Satan. He reminds me more of that character than any other character. And then I thought, well, God said that he sent Satan, the devil, down here to earth. And I'm thinking, well, maybe that's that character. So I went through all kinds of like thoughts in my head, of course. But at the end of the day, the Yahweh character God to me was more of Satan than ever the Most High God after reading the Old Testament for myself.
Right. I mean, I understand. I just wondered, like, what brought you to that conclusion, I guess.
All of the
But I
many.
mean, I totally agree.
Yeah, there's so many contradictions between what
Yeah.
Jesus revealed as the true Father and what Yahweh represents.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And a
And
part
there's
of it
also
had to do with,
interpretations.
yeah, and a part of it had to do with also, I think, the mere fact that Jesus made the reference to your father is the devil. And that's probably where that thought even came up because I'm like, whoa, is this the father? This is the devil father? What is this? Because you go through when you're reading it for yourself and the words and you're putting yourself in that place and it just never resonated with me that this was
Yeah.
the creator of all. It just never did.
Yeah.
It made me think of this is the God of the world.
Yeah. And have you ever noticed that the devil is hardly mentioned in the Bible? So where is
Right.
this devil
Exactly.
character?
Yeah.
He's
And it
a
also
fantastic.
and
You know?
it doesn't say that the devil ever killed anyone. He never killed no one in the
Yeah.
Bible. And everyone's killed in the name of God or it's something along the lines. It's crazy.
The only unaliving
Sorry.
wasn't it it's okay. Job, he
Oh
unalived
yeah.
Job's kids.
Yeah.
So yeah, when you go and you look it up, according to Google,
Right.
I actually looked it up. How many people did the devil, Satan character unalive? And it came up to
Right.
only 10 people. And I'm like, well, wait a second. Critical thinking, y'all. Critical thinking.
Yeah, there's two very different God characters. One
Yeah.
God character created all things good. One God character claims the creation of the dualistic nature.
Yeah.
And so it's just the realization between the two characters because, the father of lies, a liar, and lie itself, lies come into existence through the dualistic ideology.
And I remember somebody telling me one time that they read, I'm not sure because I didn't read it myself, but they said that Jesus in the Bible has claimed himself the son of the morning, I believe. And then there's somewhere in there a verse or something, I can't remember what they're called, but that also the devil is the God, son of the morning as well. Like they both reference each other to the same thing.
Lucifer. But Lucifer isn't the same as the
Lucifer.
devil.
Right.
That's what we've
Oh,
been taught.
okay. Gotcha. Oh, yeah, right.
Yeah, one of
Yeah.
them means like son of the morning star, and then one of them,
Bright
Is the
morning
son.
star.
yeah.
Right. Okay, so I think they were trying to put those two as one is the same as the other.
So Lucifer is, it means light bringer.
Right. Okay.
Jesus was the light of the world. So Lucifer is not the devil. In my opinion,
He
the
was, sorry.
no, go ahead. What was it?
He was angel, right? He was um light bringer of the light. What was it again?
His name means light bringer or light bearer.
Yeah, bringer of light, light bringer. Okay. Yeah, luz. Yeah, because luz in Spanish. Okay, yeah. And then Jesus was son of the morning star.
I think they're both referred to as bright morning star. If I'm,
Right. Okay.
yeah.
See, I'm thinking it as like it's like one and the same,
Mhm.
what's it called? As above, so below, yin and yang. There's always going to be both, and I think that there's an interpretation there. Or does that make any sense? What I'm
Why
saying?
is it always going to be both?
Absolutely.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Why?
yeah,
We're from the light and the dark.
right.
Are we? Is the dark a real thing? Does it actually exist or is it an experience?
Girls just always choose the light.
Well,
To
when your
me,
eye becomes. Sorry, go ahead. Sorry.
to me, it's like Lucifer and Jesus represent two sides of the same coin. Okay, so
Exactly.
it's like Lucifer is that fallen state, kind of like we are in this earthly realm, and then Jesus represents the light of the world, like does
Mm,
that make sense? But it's basically it's one, all is one, right?
yeah, yeah.
You
Not to
always thought.
mention,
Go ahead.
go ahead.
No, it's okay. Please.
Okay. I was gonna say that when you look up, well, when I looked up the word darkness in the Strong's Concordance, like it means ignorance, and light means to be enlightened to truth. So,
Yeah.
like, you have to look at those. If we're gonna, if the way I see it, if we're gonna talk biblical, like you have to know the definitions of the original languages. That's what helps more than anything, and that's what I did, and it makes so much more sense when you know that, because darkness being ignorance, and that's where I was, following religion, and then now, like, I have been enlightened to truth.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Nice.
Absolutely. And that's what Jesus was teaching too, right? When your eye becomes single and your body becomes fully light
Yes.
and you no longer take part in the dark because that darkness is inside of you. And if it's inside of you, how deep is that darkness? So that's literally what Jesus was guiding us to,
Right.
is to resolve that dualistic ideology or that dualistic nature. And it is a choice. That is your free will choice. If you want to continue to bring ignorance into existence through your choices, that is your choice to make.
Yeah.
It's like a waste of energy. No good to nobody to fall into that darkness. Or yeah, it sucks.
Well, ignorance is bliss, they say, right? It's because not knowing,
Mhm.
you just kind of going through the motions, right?
Ignorance is, I think of, when I think of a place of ignorance, I think of the NPC. We're in the NPC kind of mindset. You're just
About that.
going through the motions. You're not even self-aware of what you're doing. Being self-aware is I'm like, self-aware. I didn't really kind of grasp all this self-aware talk until I became self-aware.
Right. Yeah. It just. Yeah.
We were placed
You
into
have
a deep sleep.
in your family?
Sorry, what? I don't know who said that. What was that?
Raymond said that. I was wondering, somebody brought up NPCs, and that's something that's been weighing heavy on my mind lately. And I was wondering if the person who brought up NPCs has any NPCs in their family.
Of course.
Yeah, okay, me too. Okay, I'm happy to hear that. I'm
Very
happy.
What is
asleep.
NPC?
Yeah, I
Some
do too.
people,
Got a brother, and actually, my girlfriend's an NPC. I'm 95% sure.
well, some people look at
What
NPCs
is
as
that?
having a soul. I don't think that's true. I think they're just more of like,
It's not true then, because this is something I'm trying to learn about.
well, I don't.
What
I
is
think
it?
everybody
What
has a
is
soul,
NPC?
a non-player character,
Non-player.
but they're
Oh,
just still
and
in that deep sleep. It's the illusion, they're still,
Yeah, the veil is still on them.
yeah,
They're operating out
The
of
veil's still on.
subconscious. They're operating out
A
of the
different
subconscious
frequency.
programming.
like
Oh,
one
okay.
guy
Thank
said,
you. Thank you. So
survive.
everybody's okay. Thank you.
So when we talk about like the workers in the field, right? All the workers that come into the field get the same pay no matter what time they come into the field, even if it's towards the end of the day. We all get the same pay, which is, it doesn't matter when we wake up. We all wake up to the same reality. We all wake up to the same truth no matter when we do it. So there are those who are operating in the subconscious programming, but they will also come out of that.
In a different time guideline.
Yeah.
There's
Okay.
nothing but life. When we understand there's nothing but life, and that's the biggest thing that Jesus came to show us, is that death is a lie. There is nothing
yes.
but life. Even when you leave the beautiful avatar body, you just move on in your soul's journey. And I was talking with my husband on my walk, Honeybee, and this is what came to my mind as I was just sharing, the struggles of family members, right? And this is what came in. Marley, just love them where they are at, because if you're so consumed with waking them up, you're missing in the beauty of the relationship that you could have in this lifetime.
I like it.
What I've been doing,
Yes.
it just seems like here lately with all of the stuff going on, um, politically, and then things being released, and then like them saying that this is a holy war and all those things. It's just like I've had about enough of giving them all the love and light, and like it just
I just don't talk with
how
them
the
about
things
it
change.
anymore. Like, I
Well,
do
that's what
not
I've been
speak.
doing
Yeah,
for the
I
last few
can't.
years.
Shoot,
Yeah.
my cousin who I moved to this beautiful state of Tennessee with, moving with my people. My cousin just at Christmas time. This is how I knew that they are so still asleep. She's like, I can't wait till Jesus comes back and gets rid of all this sin. And I'm thinking, oh snap. You got to be very careful what you say around these people, because it's
Yeah.
so you just gotta smile.
Yeah, just the
Yeah.
other day, my sister was like, "Well, this is all in the Bible." I'm like, "Oh my god, please!" I'm like, "No, actually, none of it is."
Because what they don't
No,
realize is,
exactly.
like, the Bible says, seek first the kingdom of God, and all things will be added unto you. And they love to
Amen.
teach that in church. But what they don't teach is, where is the kingdom? It's within you.
Yep.
Yes.
And you are, like, the whole purpose is you to get in touch with your inner self, and, like,
Yes.
to become powerful, to know that you are capable of far more than you ever thought.
Yep.
And it was meant to be. And y'all were mentioning the Old Testament. The way I read it is just like every single bit of it, all the way back to the garden, is to be applied internal and not external, because like the Bible says, this is another one that they missed, that God is spirit, and those who worship him must worship in spirit, not physical literal, but in spirit.
Yes.
And I just wish that that was taught, because there would be so many people, or less people, in confusion.
Yeah.
But thank God we got Miss Honeybee to do things like this, and each one of us that can go and, teach truth.
Yeah.
What I have found interesting, and what I think what I learned or what I found interesting was also that the Bible, the version, okay, like the version Bible that we all know, that manual part of it, like that teaching of what the Bible is supposed to be, that has existed pre-Bible times, like for like thousands, like I think a million years actually. From what I've my information that I gathered, like what was before the Bible, like the ancient of ancient civilizations that put the ideas and left, clues behind so that people who found them could put that Bible that we know now together. And, to write that, because if you go back before the Bible and before all that, I mean, I'm talking about in the proof that's there, with Egyptians and the book of Thoth, and along those lines, those if you read how they preached and how they uh are about in their story and all that, oh man, to me it was mind blowing. I thought it was so cool
Well, when I heard that
because
there were other virgin births and this
yeah,
whole, you know, dying
isn't it
and 3 days later being resurrected,
resurrected?
Horus and all the, and I
Yes,
mean, I'm just thinking to
yes,
myself, and I thought JC
yes.
was the only one.
Right, yeah, yeah. Isn't it something?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, Thoth's chamber or Horus and all that, like those stories and those things are, man. And when I read that, I was like, well, now this makes sense from what they wanted to bring on and put on the more updated version. I was like, well, because I always ask myself, I was like, well, then who came up with this book about these things? Where did this come from? Because it had to come from somewhere. It wasn't just that. No, this is the base. This was it. This was first. No, it was. This has been for millions, from the dawn and the teachings of the ancients. Man, that's the most beautiful stuff I've ever heard. I thought
Yeah.
it was
It's all the
cool.
same story, just a
It's
different,
exactly. Yeah,
Different
language and culture.
perspectives,
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
different ways of looking at the same exact story. And
yeah,
when I left the Bible in 2023, and the very first book that I read was the book of Adam and Eve in the Apocrypha. And when
yeah.
I read that and how they left and the psychological upheaval, I wept. I cried and cried when they explained how they felt, the way it made them feel when they left the garden. It literally, when you read it from that perspective, it broke me, because that is such a deep psychological upheaval
Mm,
to have to go through and to have to endure. So when you go outside the Bible and you start reading other things, and then you even go even further and you start to look into other religions, that's when so many doors started to open for me, is when I chose to do more investigating, basically seeking,
mm-hmm.
knocking, and then of course God completely solidified it with my awakening, but and crystal clearly showed me in my second, I had two Kundalini awakenings, and the second one he clearly showed me all religions are me, and I am the thread that holds them all together.
So that's cool.
Nice.
That's a beautiful way to put it. All things exist through us as creators, created in the image of the Creator. And you had brought up the Adam and Eve story, the garden story, and something I find very interesting about that in different languages too. In the Hebrew, prior to eating the fruit of the knowledge, Adam and Eve were in their or light body. And after they ate that fruit of the knowledge, they became or skin. and so they change. And when we realize this and that we're going back to our ore light body is the whole purpose of this cycle. And this is why Jesus was the last Adam. He came and repaired the relationship so that we could go back to our original ore light body.
Yes. Beautiful.
Cool.
Grand Rising, did you have something to add? Or Seven Teacher? I know you came up recently. I didn't know if you had something to add. So, yes, so the way I see the Adam and Eve story is, in the whole, like Brie was saying, like she sees it as an internal process, right? That's how I read pretty much the entire Bible, but a lot of the Old Testament. Um, it's basically the fruit was the enlightenment, and in order to embody the full potential, we had to have the knowledge of good and evil, right? So that's why we come here to experience this realm of duality, to fully embrace both the light and dark.
And honey, you know how
Yeah.
okay, so when the serpent said, "Eat of this fruit and you will become like God."
Right. All
I
knowing.
feel like that is the same thing churches do these days. Religion, any type of religion. Do this and you will become like God. But all along they had that inner knowing from the
Yeah.
get-go.
Yeah.
They had the
Absolutely.
inner knowing, and that was
Yeah.
when it was twisted.
Yep.
And
Yeah. You're
so
right. Yeah.
now when you go to church, they say,
Yeah.
dip in this water and you will
Right.
become like
Right.
God. You will be
Yeah.
godly, right?
You were
Say
already
this
like that.
prayer and you will become like God,
Yeah.
So it's all like ritual. It's all
Yes. Yes.
and performance. Religion is
Yes.
performance.
Yes.
Spiritualism is internal,
Yes.
you know.
The speaking, the ritual, the singing, the chanting, all of it. Yeah.
Mhm.
And I truly believe that's why we couldn't get, we couldn't be awakened sooner.
No,
We're
because
under a
they're all, everyone who has more the power of the control, they're gonna harness that power. They're gonna use that power
We
Yeah.
when
didn't
they
know we
know
were
that
doing
they
it to
can
ourselves.
control.
Right.
Right. No. Yeah. And the ones
I
that
think
do
back
know,
now and
and then the
my
ones that do know, they're gonna take advantage of it. They're gonna use it for their agenda, whatever it is. You know what I mean? Because they think some really think that they're using that power of controlling of the masses of this and that for a good purpose, but secretly we really don't know what they're doing with it. You know what I mean? And then it's just and the people who get led easily, well, like okay, for example, when my family, 'cause, my mother and father are from El Salvador, and they immigrated here in the early '80s. My father was an indigenous in El Salvador, and where he lived, missionary churches came and would bring like things that they needed, which they didn't need anything. My father's tribe goes back like 1,000 years or something, so they would come and offer things and told them, "Here, you're gonna need this. You're gonna need this." And he would look at them and like, "Well, we don't, we don't need none of that." So then they started telling him about these stories, and they started telling him about these things about Jesus and all that. And they were oblivious to it, but they embedded it so hard and made him believe so hard. So to when he turned 18, the tribes give you a choice. Do you want to go out into off this land where you've been, and this is where you've been at in your blood for years, or do you want to go out there and see what else is out there? And they got to him so bad at the time. They're like, well, they told me about this place. They said that you could go and do this. They said, and then he didn't even know what that was. It just sounded so good to him. And so they totally, kind of was a scam back then. And he didn't know he was going to have to come here to like break his back, work, dishwash for a paper to pay for this. He didn't know what pain was. He didn't know what alcohol was. He didn't know what sugar, processed sugar. You know what I mean? It changed his whole thing when he came to this country. You know, and then my mother, yeah, her side of the family are Spaniards from Spain, and so she was a little bit more up to date. You know, more I guess advanced or whatever when she met my father here, and she saw him as well. They got him. They broke him down to being a worker. I don't want to say slave or nothing, but like, to where she saw him as, well, he's a hard worker. We could get him. He doesn't know anything about money. She didn't do it to be bad or anything, but she saw security, I guess, in him from back home and what he's doing, and then what the church broke into him. So now he's got what she, knows about living here, because over there, my father's type of living was, off the land, the rivers, the trees, the fruits, and all that. You know what I mean? They lived well for so long. There was no need for change. So yeah, I think people who have harnessed that power to control masses, to control churches, and do these little groups or do these big societies or whatever, it's that they'll interpret it wrong. They'll do it bad. It sucks.
Well,
Yeah,
I agree. We've all been duped, in one point in our lives.
yeah,
Bamboozled. The greatest bamboozle them.
yeah. See, so I'm like new to this whole TikTok stuff, and then like I
Really?
haven't been kind of doing it yet. And so then, yeah, I realized I didn't know how bad scammers come on here a lot too. I mean, that's terrible.
It's so funny when you
Yeah,
say that you're new to TikTok because I almost didn't join TikTok,
yeah,
because of what I heard from my fellow Christians about, oh, TikTok this and TikTok that, And, I thought to myself, how everything can be used for the light or it could be used for the dark. It's your choice. I mean, I could come on my phone and I have a choice. It's just like
hmm,
anything in life. You have a choice how you're going to use it. And it's how you choose to use it is whether it is for the light or for the darkness. But just the mere fact that someone tells you something from the Christian religious background, so to speak, that you shouldn't do this or you shouldn't do that. And every single step of the way, I realized that what they told me that I shouldn't be a part of is something that I absolutely should have checked out. Just like
isn't that something?
astrology. I
Yeah,
mean, for instance, do not ever look into astrology. It's of Satan.
no,
I'm thinking to
absolutely not.
myself, how
Yeah,
could this be from Satan?
no,
It's what runs everything.
Oh,
it
that's
makes
like
The
no
how
whole
they
sense.
Bible is the Maseroth.
that's how
Yeah,
they
it
talk
makes
about
so
the
much
gems, the
sense.
crystals, and all the all the
Right.
stones and
In
everything.
their
And literally,
Bible,
God's throne was made of it.
it says in the
We are
Bible
made
that
of it.
I
we
think
will look
they said
to the
that because they
stars.
know that it works. They only want it to work right for some. So because that way they want to make it look bad. So that because if we learn it, we
Right.
what they learn, we could be just as powerful than them, and they're scared of that.
Yes, in the scriptures it says to look to the stars and the sun and the sky for signs. So there you go. Done.
Right.
Yep, they demonize everything that would help us along this journey. Excuse me. Even down to yoga and meditation.
Yeah.
They think that some evil spirits are going to attach to you.
And the fundamental word yoke, when you look into the word yoke, when I
Yeah,
Yoga.
actually went and looked it up and figured what this word really meant, it comes from the Sanskrit word yoga.
right. And yoga is just union with God.
Yes.
That's why Jesus said his yoke was easy. His union with God was easy. Follow his way, right? He was not saying he was the way. He's saying the way I am, follow this.
Mhm.
I'll take you into the
That's
woods
it.
in a little bit, Boo Boo. Chill for just a little longer, please.
It's so simple, and it's the things that are so simple and so easy that
Go in a minute.
overthink so much.
It is. It is really simple.
You know,
Just be. Thank you for the heart me.
You know, I'm on a healing journey, and I'll never forget the day I went into meditation, and was actually kind of frustrated, but nonetheless, I'm doing what I know I should be doing. And I went in and I asked, what am I doing that is holding me back from my own healing? What am I doing? I changed my diet. I got off the man-made meds. You know, I'm doing
awesome.
all of the things, right? I'm doing these things. And unfortunately, the man-made meds made everything 10 times worse for me. So I'm having to go through that process nonetheless. But when God said, when you get your thoughts, your emotions, and your actions all in alignment, the body will follow,
Yeah, yeah,
which is back to, if thy eye be single, the whole body is full of light, which is back to another thing that I have had a hard time with, because I'm a doer. I've always been a servant at my core. I would serve till the cows came home. I just love serving. I always have loved it. And so knowing that about myself made me understand my, what is it that's at the core of why am I serving? And so I had to go in and ask very hard questions to myself, back to getting to know thyself, which is another thing that the church does not make us understand. Self-realization is the whole reason why we are here. We are here for self-realization. And when you find self, which is God, which is the purest part of you, the part that's never been separate, just like Josh's lives always say, at enmity in your mind, because it was always only in our minds. But the greatest lessons that I've learned, like when God literally took my nervous system and I couldn't do anything. He literally shut my nervous system down on a couch. And there's nothing I could do about it. And I was really frustrated and I felt worthless, because when you can't once do what you used to do, it's hard. And I had this moment of like, I feel worthless. And God clearly came in and just shut that down too. And he says, your worth has never been in anything that you've ever done. Your worth, my child, is in your being. You guys, when we really understand that, because when you understand the worth is in your frequency, your worth is in your vibration, your worth is in that, because that is what changes places. That's what changes rooms when you walk in. Your vibration alone can change the whole trajectory of a room. What do you think Jesus was doing? Why do you think when he just walked into a place, he changed the atmosphere? And he
Marley,
didn't
I
have to do
agree.
anything. He didn't have to do anything. He just walked in somewhere and people felt it.
I agree. And I strive to be that kind of person. Like, I honestly do. People who know me in real life would tell you, like it's just, I'm a different being and I love it. But like where the world tells you, that, and I don't mean to get into all this, but I am going to briefly mention it where, I mean, ever since we were little, we've been programmed to believe every little thing. And like, how like I was saying to my group that like, we wouldn't people look at bigger people as nasty or something, like bad in a bad way. It's only because we were taught to look at certain things a certain way. And had we not been taught to look at it that way, then we wouldn't think what we think about it. But you're exactly right. Like making a difference, make a difference and get to know yourself, because each individual person here on this earth is here for a reason. And how, and we don't have to react like you were talking about. Jesus just walked in a room and it changed everything. And that's what I hope to be, and that's what I've chose to do with my awakening. Like I don't I might have 20 people against me, and the normal reaction to ugliness and all that would be to give it right back to them, right? But I don't have to do that. I'm going to set an example. I'm going to set an example to try to bring out that light in somebody else.
Yes.
And so I love that, Marley. And I followed you because you seem like a very intelligent woman.
You're so kind. It's all God, my story is pretty profound, and what I will say to all is that everything that you need is already inside of you. It is all there, waiting to be discovered. You are here to discover you. You are here to heal and to lift up the Son of Man, which is lifting up you, lifting up the Christ inside of you. And the church is not teaching that. The church is teaching us how to be good people, right? The church is teaching us how to fall in line with the status quo and how to behave. But I will never forget. I will never forget what Bill Donahue said. I love Bill Donahue. Bill Donahue said one day, here you have Johnny, and Johnny unalived several people. And Johnny has been in prison for 25 years, and now Johnny is going to death row, right? Well, has Johnny been rehabilitated? No, Johnny's not been rehabilitated, so we're going to unalive him, and Johnny's conscience continues on. Get it? It's the conscience of the human that needs to be changed. And the way that the conscience has to be changed is that we have to understand these are deep spiritual things. It's not a superficial thing as to let's just shine it up and put some white on it and we'll make it clean. Get it? It's not. That's what the church is trying to do. Let's just shine up the outside, because if the outside looks good, this is why it says sheep in wolves' clothing. That's why most of them are wolves, because you look all pretty on the outside and you smile pretty. And that's what the awakened soul. Since my awakening, I can't even stand in front of somebody and not know their true intention now. They don't even have to say a word. Either they can just sit there and have a conversation. And in that conversation, I truly know the truest intentions. Energy does not lie. And when you're awake and in tune with the universe, yourself, your surroundings, and you wake up that pineal gland, that's the beauty of it. Your intuition gets so good. Yeah. I mean, that's what they've been trying to do, to take that from us. Yeah. They literally were shutting down. It's a frequency war, you guys. That's what it is. And all the food and everything that they did is to shut down our signal. That's why pharmakia is such a big ordeal in the last days, so to speak, which is what God showed me, which is my personal journey to move away from all of that and to get away from the man-made meds, because of those meds shut signals down. And they do it so beautifully, you guys. That's why so many people are still asleep.
I agree 1,000%. And like Honey said, one of the biggest problems is people do not read the Bible. They just hear bits and pieces at church, or everybody's got those famous scriptures, but like, what about the ones where Jesus told the Pharisees? And by the way, Pharisees, the actual biblical definition of Pharisee is expert of the law, which is what we see in churches and stuff, and Jesus said, first clean up the inside of the cup, then worry about the outside, so we've just got to look within. And I completely agree with you too, Marley, about medication.
Yeah.
Because I had this, and all along I've truly felt that, source, the divine source within me has guided me through this whole journey. And now I'm seeing where, like, spirit was trying to tell me something, but just the carnal mind, I guess, was like thinking, no, I'm just crazy, like, and not listening to what I was actually supposed to be doing. But I have come to realize through spirit that I no longer want anything. I can't take medications anyway, but I no longer want anything controlling my mind or my body for me. So I strive every single day. Now, that is not to say people out here don't need their thyroid medicine, or people don't need antidepressants if they feel that they absolutely need it. Like, I do not take that away from people, but I do have the same mindset you do, Marley, when it comes to that we are powerful and we just don't know our power.
Yep. It is. And the frequency war, it's not just medications, it's food, it's indoctrination, it's what they're spraying in the skies. There's so many levels to it. It almost seems hopeless, right? But as long as to me, we are the light workers, we are the anchors. That's why we're spread out. That's why we don't have like-minded people. Somebody mentioned in the comments they wish they had like-minded people around them, and same here. But that's why we're supposed to be the light in the dark. And it's whitewashed, right? It's the religion and the churches and everything is whitewashed on the outside, but dead bones inside, because there's no life in them. God does not dwell in temples made by human hands, especially these mega churches that are all performance.
That was one of the biggest things that woke me up, Honey, was seeing Acts 17:24-25, that God is not in the church.
Yeah.
And it like clearly says that God is not in the churches made by human hands, and that he is not worshiped by human hands. But yet you still see people going to church and raising their hands up, doing physical rituals. And I get it, because I was once them. We can't be angry at them, because a lot of them are still blind. They don't know any better. That's why we're here.
A lot of what we see, especially in churches and on TikTok, they're arguing over the law and all these different denominations. And in the scriptures, it says the law is summed up in this: love thy neighbor as yourself. It's pretty simple.
He said, Marley said something about our signal was lost, and somebody put in the comments that love is the signal. It all comes down to love. Love fulfills everything. So and the big part about that is the verse says to love your neighbor as yourself. Most people don't love themselves. So
Bill Donahue said that.
So the first step is self-love.
Yeah, people don't understand the
key for world peace is self-peace.
People don't understand the in-depth meaning of that. Like, I tell my daughters, I have 3 daughters. God bless my soul. But they are, I tell them all the time, I'm like, listen, I know you've heard it 1,000 times that in order to love somebody else, you must first learn to love yourself. But it is so true. And I'm like, I can't express to you how true and how necessary it is for you to love yourself, because if you don't love yourself, you can't possibly love someone else. And so that's why you see people out here just treating each other like however, because they treat themselves however. They don't know any better. They don't know They've never been taught anything like that, you know, like our world is so
Hold on.
like
And when you don't love
just
yourself, you allow others to love you incorrectly as well.
yes, and it's so filthy. Like it makes me sick knowing that they're like, and like Marley was talking about earlier, how she can be around people and not even have to like hear a word out of their mouth. I'm the same exact way. Like I can read you and don't even people through TikTok. I mean, you don't even got to be in front of me. Like I can read you in a split second and know what your intentions are, what kind of mindset you have. Like it, and that's because I've taken the time to get to know myself. I've been observant of others, you know, and spent time on that. And that's what people don't do. It's like they think they're just here in this world for no reason. Like they just ended up here for no reason. There's no reason behind it. They're just simply existing. Like, and I teach my crowd all the time. I'm like, please, like, search for
And Hayes says they need Divine Mother to activate the ascension process within them. Absolutely. Most Christians believe they have the Holy Spirit. I'm not saying they don't, but the Holy Spirit is something that must be activated. That is the Holy Mother, right? It's
They
within
don't
you.
know what the Holy Spirit is, sweetheart.
No, they
Nobody
don't.
understands the Holy Mother until you've been activated by the Holy Mother. And that's the honest to God truth, y'all. We've been bamboozled with that lie as well.
Dude, have patience. Have patience, brother.
And
Yeah.
so when you understand that you have your God-given intuition, right? You have that, and you have spirit, but Holy Mother is nothing that I thought was the Holy Mother. And she transforms you. It is true transformation.
Yeah, and it's sad that, you know, I'm going to kind of shift to this society we live in is patriarchal. And if we lived in a matriarch, we would not be experiencing a lot of these things we are, because our focus would be protecting children and women. And, you know, not just that, but, you know, it's so she's been lost. And we just have this, all three, the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit are male figures, you know, that warps our perception of reality.
Well, what warps everything is this is this is more in-depth thought that I have gone into, and contemplation, which is one of the reasons why God shut my nervous system down so I could sit and contemplate. Because, you know, when you are busy doing life and doing, you don't have time to sit and contemplate and to think and to reflect. You know, that's the whole beauty of the seasons. God changes seasons because he's trying to tell us something about us. He's trying to show us that we are on an evolution, that I'm changing the times and the seasons to help you understand more about you. This is about an inner work. And when you, back to loving yourself, the thing is that we don't even know what that means. We do not know what loving self even means. We think loving self is go get a pedicure. We think loving self is I'm going to get my hair done today. We think loving self is I'm going to go to a mall and buy myself some new shoes today. I'm going to love myself and paint my house today. Do you see how all of that has to do with something on the outside of you, doing
yeah.
something? Loving self is taking the time to go within to that secret place, because if your life does not look the way you want it to look, and it's not going in the direction that you want it to go in, it's a perfect opportunity for you to stop and self-reflect.
The right, wrong, self-discipline, you know, like
That's the
shaping yourself
sin.
into
If
who
you,
you want to be.
when you
I
think
moved to
about sin, sin
California.
is just
There's a big difference.
sin is just you being disconnected from yourself. Because if you are self-aware and you are connected to yourself, it changes everything. I mean, just the way I look at my children today, the way I sit with my kids today versus the way I sat with them 3 years ago or even 2 years ago is night and day. The way I sit with anybody versus the way I once did is night and day, because I am now sitting with them understanding what kind of conversation do I really want to be having here? What is this energy exchange that I really want to be having here? Because life and death are in my tongue.
You know, something else I wanted to bring up that a lot of people may not know, but you study the definition of judgment, and it literally means your decisions and choices. And so everybody looks in the Bible as, you know, judgment being this big scary thing where there's this man sitting on this throne and he's got a gavel in his hand and angry and everything and calling out all your wrongs to you. No, it is in your decision making that you either put yourself through a life of living hell or you prosper in and you know, sin meaning to miss the mark, to miss anything other than what is right, to follow what is right and to change those things about yourself through your decision making, through your judgment, and you either prosper or you live a life of hell. I mean, and it's ultimately what we choose to do.
No one will get away from self. No one will get away from themselves. So we don't have to worry anymore about this punishment place, because every human being will answer to whatever they must answer to. And that is probably the most beautiful, peaceful place. I don't worry about, I don't think anymore about what is going to happen and come from all of the destruction with the kids, with the whole Epstein thing. I look at it now that everything is coming to light, and I now know that all of that will be rectified. It might not be rectified all in my lifetime, right? But I know that the God that I serve, that powers the universe, knows way better than me. And look at how many lifetimes. I straight up asked God how many lives I lived, you guys. I asked. This is how, you guys, everything is already inside of you. So you just got to go in meditation and ask, just like the Bible says, and it's yours. And I asked, I said, how many lives did I live? How many lives have I lived? And I never even thought to ask the question until I read the book, Conversations with God. And I'm like, wow. After reading that book, I'm like, that's how I can literally talk to God? This is how it can be? I'm like, well, this is kind of cool. And that's how I started really approaching God. Not in this, I started looking like he's just my parent. And then I'm like, I started, after I had my awakening with Shakti Ma, I'm like talking to her now. I'm like, hey Ma, how am I doing today? You know, you really, that's how you cultivate this beautiful, because it's all inside of you. Your mother is in you. Your father is in you, you guys. So all the answers are in you. And when you sit with it, the answers will come in. So out of the blue, after meditation one day, I'm just on a walk. And a lot of times my answers come in a straight download when I'm on a walk, typically. And 696 lives. And as soon as that came in, 696 lives, God said, add it up. So I added it up. It equaled to 21. And then God said, add 2 plus 1. I added 2 plus 1. And it was a 3. Then God said, go and look up what does 3 mean in the Bible. So I went and I looked up at what 3 means in the Bible. Divine completion. It means other things as well. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And then out of nowhere, I was thinking about Nikola Tesla, and he said the answer to the universe is 369. So I literally put on a piece of paper and wrote it backwards, 369. It's wild, you guys. Everything you need to know about you is in you. I knew you before you were formed in your mother's womb. I knew you all the days of your life, from the beginning to the end of your incarnations. I will make you a pillar in my temple, and you shall go out no more. So these are the things, like these verses, what do they mean, God? I'm like, what do they really mean? And that's the relationship that I want to cultivate, because everything I need is right there, and it will be given to me in the most perfect timing, because my father and my mother know exactly when that time is. They know better than me, because why? They see the bigger picture. I cannot see all, right? So I just implore each one of you to understand that you don't need anything on the outside of you to figure you out, because you are your own universe. It's all encompassed in you.
Yeah. Absolutely. Seek ye first the kingdom of God. It's within you. So I am just going to give a warning. I have about 5 more minutes before I need to hop off. Jay Kaiser said something. Christ flipped tables because of corruption, didn't he? It's time. So I can't disagree with that in a way, but like I wouldn't. What does flipping tables mean? Like how do we flip tables now? See, my prompt here, I don't want to use violence. I don't want to use force. I want to build a new model that makes the existing model obsolete. This is how I think we flip the tables. So what are the steps to doing that? Jay Kaiser, do you have any thoughts on that? I never read the Bible, but I know the truth, the writing is on the wall. Yeah, for sure.
When we understand that violence begets violence.
Yeah. Oh, I got a violation.
How did you get a violation?
Oh, Damon is flagged for dangerous activities. Okay, I'm gonna remove you. I'm not sure what he was doing down there. I didn't notice anything, but
He was driving.
oh, okay, yeah, we can't drive, and I think somebody was also smoking. Was it him? So we can't do those things on the live with your camera on, especially. So be cautious of that next time if you come up. So what were you saying, Marley? I'm sorry.
Oh, I was just saying violence begets violence. And so, which is why when you heal all of your inner wounds and you meet the darkest parts of you and you go in and you ask yourself, well, why would I do something like that? And you do the whole dark night of the soul and you do all of that internal work and you meet yourself and you go in and you nurture the trauma parts of you and you nurture all of that and you heal that inside of you, because at the end of the day, shame and guilt are the two things that keep all humans in bondage. Shame and guilt. And that is exactly where the God of the world wants you, is in shame and in guilt. Because if you are in any of those places, which are the deepest parts of you, the parts of you that keep you in the lowest of vibration, you will then continue to move into this existence in a way that will keep you in bondage. You don't even know that you are in bondage. And you don't understand that you're walking about in life and you are literally attracting what you don't want. You don't even understand what you're doing. And so when you go in and you heal those parts of you and you heal the things that are triggering you, things that make you angry, those are the questions that you ask. Why does this make me angry? Why do I feel this way? Is there truth to that? Did I have something to do that? Basically, stop playing victim. You're not a victim of your life. When you go from victim to victor, that's when everything changes.
So we flipped the proverbial table, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And flipping
That's true.
tables, in my opinion, could just mean, I like to take it and saying it's a righteous anger, but you can be righteous in your anger and show no violence.
Right. So he said, means we collectively as humanity abolish corrupt government and start over like in a utopia way, no money. So yeah, I agree. What are the steps in that? I did mention earlier at the beginning of the live one website that is called conventionofstates.com. If y'all can go there and petition for your state, all you have to do is enter your information and address, and then they'll know your state. But basically, the Convention of States is an article in the Constitution. It's a mechanism in the Constitution allowing states to propose amendments bypassing Congress. If 34 state legislatures apply, Congress must call a convention to address issues like federal fiscal restraints, power limitations, and term limits. So we have 20 states already on board. So conventionofstates.com. That's just one way that we can do more localized government control versus federal, and hopefully change some things. But, I think that we have to build new systems, like the school, pharma, big tech, big box, all those things have to go. We have to stop putting our money and energy into those things and start local, honestly.
That's the key component. If you guys want to see change, and I know it's really hard because financially, we're in a conundrum. So many people are in a conundrum financially. And so we're like penny pinching, a lot of people are, and so it's hard. But to think that you are powerless is not at all. Just making small changes. And just like Honeybee said, instead of going to something that's big boxed, go to something that's smaller. Because the only way that these things can be changed is through the people changing them. So how does God bring heaven to earth? Because that's what we were commissioned to do. The Bible says we're to bring heaven to earth, God's children. So how do we do that? And that is one person at a time, just choosing something differently. And before you know it, you got all kinds of people choosing something differently. And next thing you know, I don't know, Wally World goes down or something. I mean, something like that can happen, you guys.
Yeah. Can I say something to Mystic Helen? She says the Bible does have truth in it, but it also has history, stories relating to culture at time. But I want to say something like, to me, absolutely, it has truth in it, but you have to understand it in a spiritual sense. And when you do, that's going to make all the sense. But be sure not to read it in the way, like, just because your church or whoever, might tell you this is what this means, read it for yourself in your own quiet time and ask God yourself, what could this mean? Because that's where you're going to get the truth out of it. And because I learned, that after reading it, all these years I spent in church, everything I found out was a lie. Everything. And so when you read it for yourself, God reveals, and the Bible talks about this, that all things hidden will be, or hidden in darkness will be brought to light. That the revelation, there's going to be a revealing, and so that means that something hidden is going to be revealed to you. But if you're listening to other people and what their perspective on the Bible, you're going to miss that revealing. Yeah. So I just wanted to put that in the air, for not just her, but everybody that may not know.
And it's good to know the historical context and understand the relevancy, audience relevance, right?
Yeah.
But what does that do for you personally and your spiritual growth? For me, yeah, I get it. It's all done. That's a key part of knowing that it's finished, right? that the Bible doesn't pertain to us as far as like prophecy goes. But then, like, how do we embody? What's the next step after that? The
Right.
embodiment.
That's what I say. It very much like, to me, it's a book of wisdom and knowledge. And I'll tell you, this is just my personal journey. What started my awakening was God spoke to me and said, my real name's Bridget, but Bridget, what do you think happened to the people before the scriptures were written? And I was like, I don't know. You tell me, like, what did happen? And that's when he had me go and study the word hell and what it meant. And so I did. And it was just one thing after another that started to break off. And I was like, oh my gosh. And then eventually I got to a point where I had to let go of everything I had ever learned in order to step into this new. And it absolutely was supernatural. I don't care what anybody says. I had a very supernatural experience where my mindset went from one way to a completely new everything. Like revelation came at the drop of a hat. I mean, like, it was the craziest thing I've ever been through, but it was amazing. And so yeah, I mean, that's just how I feel about it.
Well,
sure.
when I realized that, a lot of it had to do, I got a hold of Bill Donahue's teachings. So many things happened in 2023 for me. But most of all is understanding that what we love Jesus so much. I mean, everybody loves this character Jesus, right? Oh, Jesus, 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 right? And at the end of the day, I thought to myself, why do we love Jesus so much? What it is about Jesus? What is this embodiment? And, I'm like, when I really went into Jesus's teachings to understand what really is Jesus's message, what is the truest message of Jesus? And then when I realized that Jesus never came here to be worshiped, then when I realized that right here it says that Jesus in John 16:26, Jesus clearly says, don't ask for anything in my name. Don't come to me. And he says right here, at the day ye shall ask in my name, and I say not unto you that I will pray the Father for you.
And there's also more scripture that mentions like about his name, about he will share his name with us. And I can't remember exactly where it was at. I would have to look it up, but yes, it's and instead of you worshiping Jesus the man, it's an embodiment, something that we put on. In other words, the way, the truth, the right way to do things, the life. But I meant to say earlier when I was talking about the whole Bible thing that God was like, what do you think happened to the people before the Bible? Do you think I just threw them in hell? And I was like, well, I don't know. But you don't, learning that I never needed that. I had what I needed all along inside of me, just like the animals. Now it makes total sense when he says, like, who told the animals how to prepare their, meals or whatever, like how to prepare their nest and just all these things, like they had a natural knowing and so did we. And the thing is that, religion has taken that from us, taken that natural knowing from us and told us how to do something when all along we had it inside of us.
Yeah.
If we would just listen to our inner self,
Well, isn't that what Jesus came to do? Is to return it all back to the Father so that we can embody it. So when I think about that, so if the kingdom of God is inside of me, and Jesus did everything that he came to do, he returned it to the Father, did the work. The temple was destroyed. All of these things. Okay, these things are all. So what does that really mean? And what it means is that it's now inside of us. It's literally in us. Everything is in us. We don't need the 10 Commandments. We don't need any of that because it's written in our DNA, which is why if you meditate, if you go and contemplate, if you shut the door, like Jesus says, guess what happens? It starts to unlock things inside of you. The keys are in you. Jesus gave it back. So it's up to you to start the unlocking in each one of your chakras. And Revelation, each church, each of the 7 churches, it tells us something about the chakra system. It tells you what is happening in each one of these churches, right? It tells you, that's what it's trying to tell you about you. We think it's about the church back then. When you contemplate and you sit on it and you look, okay, so 7 deadly sins, 7 fruits of the Spirit. Okay, I'm supposed to take my deadly sins and turn them into the fruit of the spirits. So that is what we're here to do. We have the keys. All you got to do is seek, knock, and the divine will open, and Jesus will come like a thief in the night, just like he did to me. And all I did for my awakening was I sought with my whole heart. I believe in meditation. I do. I sit and I meditate. I don't meditate and do a lot of breath work and gotten all into that. But I 100% sit and meditate with frequency music on healing and all of these things. And so from that, each person can cultivate whatever that looks for them. I'm looking forward to doing more yoga practices and stuff like that. I'm excited about that. And that's a beautiful thing to incorporate as well.
Yep.
But if you just seek, knock with your whole heart, Yeshua, our brother, our God will see you. And the beauty of it is it will come like a thief in the night.
Absolutely. So I'm sorry, guys. I do have to end this live. But I will say one thing about what y'all said about the Father, and Jesus' name. Well, he prayed that we would be all one with the Father, just as he is one. And also, if you look back at name, he gave us his name, right? That means the authority. So we have the authority, right? So
we have the authority.
Right.
Bingo. You have the authority. I have the authority to do it all.
Yep.
You don't have to pray in Jesus' name. You just pray straight to the Father.
Right. I'm going to drop down, Miss Honey.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for letting me come up. It was an honor, and I just think the world of you.
Oh, thank you. Back at you. And yeah, I will be hosting more of these lives with panels, and anybody that wants to come up, please feel free to come up and share. I do have to get to work, but I love you all. I hope you have
We
a
love
blessed...
you, honeybee. Thank you.
Thank you. I should be back Sunday morning around the same time, 9 a.m. Central Standard Time. So if y'all want to join, I will see you then. I love you guys. Be blessed and blessed be. Bye.